the MODUS Super Series, brought to you in association with Bet365, Betfair, Betfred, Coral, Ladbrokes, Paddy Power, Unibet and William Hill.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. By the close of play this evening, we will have our completed lineup for finals night. Of course, 3 of those places have already been filled. Paul Nicholson alongside me to reflect on what we've seen so far and, of course, look ahead to tonight's action. It was Aaron Monk, of course, who topped Group C this morning. Just a little summary, how impressed you were with him this week?
I think he's had some adversity this week, and I think he's handled it pretty well. And Mason and I were talking about this a little bit earlier. The fact that he has got so much ability, there's been so much doubt about his mental side of the game. He's come through very, very well this week with many, many tests. But the ultimate test for him is to get a first weekly title. The fact that he's been playing in this project since the very beginning and he hasn't got a weekly title is astounding. So, great week so far, but still more to do.
Indeed. Talent and temperament certainly coming together for him this week. Will it result in a title? Of course, we will find out tomorrow evening. But before we focus on Group B, let's take a little reminder of the highlights from Group C this afternoon. Martin Turner was the only player to beat Aaron Monk on the opening day in Group C, and with finishes like this, came close to repeating the feat this morning, eventually losing out in a decider. Nathan Gervin left himself a lot to do on day 2, but from 2-0 down to Tony Wood, gave himself a chance when he turned the opening match on its head with a 1-4-1. Debutant Tony Wood agonisingly misses out on a first Super Series finals night, but plenty of positives for him and his Mason-esque shirts to take away. Well, as for Kevin Painter, he knew heading into the final match of the session that he needed to win by 4 legs to 2 or better to advance, but Nathan Gervin prevented that from happening by forcing a last leg decider in that match. Instead, it's this man, Gav Carlin, who joins Monk and Osborne in finals night, of course. Bottom of the table before a dart had been thrown today, but held his nerve remarkably when others around him were faltering. His only defeat of the day, of course, coming when Aaron Monk took out that superb 160 finish to round off the victory. An incredible match that. It has to be the match of that session, doesn't it? Both of them taking out ton-topping finishes for fun in that one. But Gav Carlin, I don't even have the words for what he's done today. Bottom of the table, 1 win to his name coming into today's action. Nobody really gave him a hope of qualifying through, but he remained steady when others around him were starting to falter.
The double top finishing, we've spoken about it at length throughout the session, and the fact that he won his last game 4-0 gave him that little glimmer of hope, and he won by 1 leg. Kevin Painter's tweeted since then and just said, 1 leg, are you kidding me? But that's Super Series darts. It can just be by the finest margins. But I saw Gavin Carlin outside the arena when everything was finished, and I said, well done, and he looked like he was in shock, as if to say, I don't even know how I did it, but the fact that I'm coming back tomorrow is a fantastic bonus.
It really is. Right then, let's move on to Group B now then, and 3 players are going to progress from this one. It's Conan Whitehead who leads the way at the top of the league standings. We can take a look at how things are shaping up in this one. It is just 1 win required for Whitehead, of course, at the top of the table. We mentioned it earlier, we touched upon it. Dan Reid's finishing has improved game on game, day by day. Of course, he was involved in Group A as well. He's been incredibly impressive. But of the chasing pack, 3rd, 4th and 5th, who do you fancy to make their move tonight?
I just get the feeling that Darryl is very well versed in getting through these kinds of challenges. I think Danny's got a lot to do. I think there were a few question marks about Jelle Klaasen last night. He looked very focused in the practice room about 45 minutes ago. He knows he's got a lot to do, but Darryl is someone who, if he doesn't panic, he should get 4 points tonight, and I think 8 will be safe.
Yeah, and Jelle Klaasen, we spoke about him prior to this week's action, and of course he won the Irish Open at the weekend, came into this in superb form really, but his performances we've just learnt to expect the unexpected from him this week, because there have been moments of brilliance, some really superb three-figure out shots from him when he's really needed them, but not consistently enough.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of an up and down week, and he's not immune to feeling a little bit jaded after being in Ireland and coming straight here and having multiple days in a row. So maybe he just needs that second wind. I hope for his sake that it comes tonight.
And it is Dan Reid against Danny Smith, our first match of this evening's session. Of course, we're talking about Dan Reid as if he is pretty much there. If he gets the win in this opener, it's looking pretty much like a certainty, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks pretty good, but we know from the example of Scott Walters when he won 5 games on a Thursday, which was undefeated, and then he didn't win a game on a Friday. That is the classic example of someone who has a good first day, and then we just don't say that they're safe. If I was Dan Reid coming into tonight, I would be saying to myself, more of the same. Get yourself at least 3 wins and you'll be more than safe.
Yeah, and he was the 4-1 winner when these two met yesterday, a 92.5 average in that one. As for Danny Smith, we saw some really good performances from him. 5 180s in that match against Conan Whitehead. Really unfortunate that his best performance came against the man who was really in top form in the group.
Yeah, you can say that again. I mean, you walk away from a game which is best of 7 legs and you got 5 180s, you would expect to get a match start. It didn't happen. And we've seen the unexpected over the last couple of days, and we've got another session tonight. Who knows what's going to happen? But you just get the feeling that coming into tonight, it's a knockout scenario for Danny. If he wins 4 out of 4, he's got a chance.
Right then, let's find out what does unfold in tonight's evening session. Let's get into our first match. It is Dan Reid up against Danny Smith.
Thank you, Abby. And the darts continue. Just had 2 absolute tungsten thrillers from the Grand Slam. And now we move on to the probably other spectrum of the game. This is the MODUS Super Series here at the Live Lounge. This is the conclusion of Group B. Up first is this man, local man to Portsmouth, Danny Smith, against Dan Reid, who is currently sat in a very nice position on 6 points plus 3.
First leg, it's Dan to throw first.
Second in the table, 2 points behind Conan Whitehead, so he will join Conan on 8 if he secures a win here. Certainly expected to with the odds makers. They make him a 1 to 4 favourite. Danny Smith at 11 to 4. Averaged 82.33 for the night last night. Danny, 91.96 was his high. Hit 5 180s. The reason his average was there, and he finds himself at the foot of the table, just 19.35% on the doubles. And if you look at the other end of the table at the top, with twice as much success on the outer ring, 40% is Conan Whitehead, and a running average of 93.89, a high of 100.20. We had 300 plus averages last night. One from this man, 100.84. Darryl Pilgrim chipped in with 100.54 and 7 180s. 2 players averaged in excess of 90 for the night. One being Conan, the other one being this man, 91.65 for the night. Just to get the Grand Slam news out of the way, congratulations to Michael Smith, who won an absolute thriller against Joe Cullen. And also, Barney rolling back the years, defeating Gadwin Price. So, Smith and Barney in the semis.
Yeah, that's game short in the
beautiful
first
start there from Dan Reid. Well, just to touch on that Grand Slam, the phrase rolling back the years is used way too often.
It's Danny to
but
throw
tonight's
first.
actually very appropriate.
Yeah. Well, he's 55 years of age. It wasn't that long ago that he walked away from the game, had his farewell year, and loads of exhibitions organised for him for his swan song. And before we know it, he changed his mind. Got himself a tour card. Is now
125
semi-finals of the Slam, and he's, where did we see that he was ranked earlier? He's going to jump, isn't he?
Yeah, he's getting close to the top 32 again.
95.
You never know, he might even be a seed for the World Championship.
Well, if he wins it, he goes to 23 in the world, and we've still got the Players' Championship finals next week.
Yes, we do. And we said it was rolling back the years for Barney. Dan Reid with that first leg of the contest, rolling back the hours.
Dan Reid won this tie last night with that
55.
100.84 average, which is even more impressive because that was around, what was that, about 1 o'clock in the morning, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's impressive in this format, and it's a good sign
60.
because if he does pick up a couple of wins tonight, he'll be more than safe for Saturday night. And if you are going to win in a weekly campaign, Conan knows this better than anybody in this group, that you must be able to do that
45.
at around 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and around midnight, he defeated Jelle Klaasen by the same scoreline, 4-1 with a 92 average. He has been very impressive
99.
and has slowly but steadily got better as the week has gone on. Monday, he had an absolute nightmare.
99.
Well.
Then you require 167.
Arguably the most difficult finish on the board, the 167.
Well, it's the
100.
biggest adjustment.
Then you require 76.
All we need is a Daniel in this, don't we?
We've got a Danny, a Dan.
We haven't got a Darryl.
56. Then you require
Just
67.
create a whole group of Dan, Danny. Could have been Danny Lobby.
That would have been confused, although you got to see the way they the speed of throw to know.
That's game short in the
who.
second leg. Dan Reid.
That's an 18 and another clinical finish. He's 2 from 2 on the doubles, and that's a breaker throw.
What is it about double
Third
top
leg,
today?
it's
Honestly,
down the
it's
throw
getting an
first.
absolute hammering. He's doing exactly what Gavin Carlin did in his Lazarus attempt from the foot of the table to get to second position
60.
in Group C. So our three combatants are Colin Osborne, Gavin Carlin, and Aaron Monk.
Yep, Aaron winning Group C.
54.
In some style today. So it's the winner of Group A, which was Colin Osborne, the winner and the runner-up of Group C, which was completed this afternoon. And that was Aaron and Gavin, as Nico just said. And it's the top 3 from this 5-player filled Group B.
100.
How that works is the runner-up in the 3rd position of Group A, their reward is coming into this 5-player filled Group B. 4, 5 and 6, their punishment is back in for the red eye. But on Wednesday, Gavin Carlin won 4 out of 5 when it looked all over, and it was on that occasion. Today, he was bottom when we got underway at 9:30 a.m. and myself and Nico never really could have pulled that.
60.
Didn't really think about his chances because we thought he'd had such a bad start on Thursday that, okay, we'll just focus on the other guys.
What surprised me was that
42.
Kevin Painter was unaware that it was the one leg that cost him.
So he didn't know until after.
No, I don't think so.
82.
Well, that puts
then
a
you
different
require
spin on it.
170.
Although I think he knew, but I'm not sure if he was 100% sure. Because the disappointment was evident even in victory.
130. Then you require 74.
Well, his finishing has been clinical so far. And he's been slotting the 2 darters away. And the 3. Ooh,
34.
buckles to the wire.
Then you require 40.
Same bed.
Yeah, that's
different
game
results.
short in the 3rd leg.
Played to Danny Smith, who dodged one there.
Well, I thought he played all right last night. I mean,
Me too.
Yeah, he hit an absolute
4
stack
targets, Danny to throw first.
of 180s. In fact, he hit a total of 5 across the night.
5 in the same match.
59.
Yeah, 5 in the same match. But his doubling was what cost him. I mean, he was down at 19.35% and still had an 82.33 running average for the night. Bit
60.
harsh to not get at least 1 win.
Just a measure of how good this crop of players are. We're talking about recent winners in different
100.
arenas. Conan obviously won here. Clawson obviously won in Ireland last weekend. Dan Reid is just someone who's played a lot of darts this year. He's very, very comfortable.
100.
And don't forget about Darryl Pilgrim, who has been a serial qualifier for Saturday nights this season.
Well, Danny Smith was the only one that ran our leader of Group B anywhere near close, and it was 4-3 to Conan. He averaged 94.1. Danny Smith
60.
averaged 92, well, 91.96, and that was the match he hit the 5-1-8s in. It was 3 out of 8 on the doubles. No one else
100.
took Conan to a 7th leg all night. Conan won 4-0, 4-3, 4-2, 4-0.
41. Danny, you require 147.
About as dominant as you've seen from anybody on a Thursday night.
Well, it is historically
57.
the toughest session of the week, apart from Saturday night. And if you want to join us tomorrow, it is completely free here at the Modus Live Lounge in Portsmouth. The doors open at 8 or 8:30.
Yeah, I think it's right.
Danny, you
o'clock.
Yeah, around 8 o'clock.
90.
Reserve your ticket online. Like I said, it's absolutely free.
Level 5.
Yeah, that's
Ooh,
game
we've
short.
got a
in the
level
fourth
game
leg.
all of a sudden.
Danny Smith.
And you just never know, Mace. I had some picks this evening.
I know.
I had a good time last night.
I know you did.
Fifth leg, it's
I got
down
2
to
of them
throw
right.
first.
I'm reveling
Game
in it.
on.
So this game I thought would go 4-3 to Dan Reed, and that was 7-2.
Yeah, my eyebrows were
41.
raised when I heard that. You obviously seen, well, like I said, his number doesn't reflect the effort
96.
last night, really. So maybe we're singing from the same hymn sheet, but maybe I rate Dan Reed that highly. But he did get beat 4-0 in his opening match last night.
Yeah, that was the game that Conan had those 4-15 darters.
Yeah.
100.
Yeah, just 60 darts used in a 4-0 win. 3-1-8s, 4 out of 11 on the doubles. Dan Reed averaged 94.61 and was restricted to just 3 darts at a double.
That's the correct thing to do there on 305, looking at something to leave a 7 at the end. Or possibly, what you can do is go 15s or 25 to start.
I think the 18's the safer route, isn't it? And the adjustment back to the treble 20 is a small one.
Well, people like that staying on the 18's option of trying to get that 162 to leave the finish. No matter what the finish is, they just want to leave one.
140. Dan, you require
Very nicely
120.
here. He's got a better average than Dan Reed right now. 88.74. 66.67% on the doubles, the pair of them.
100. Danny, you require 117.
Dan Reed's had 2 shots at a double since he went 2-0 up. He's missed them both. He's getting a second bite of the cherry here to get the 3-2 lead.
20.
And he does have the darts in this match. And he's
Yeah,
also
that's
got the
game
lead
short
back.
in the fifth leg.
Now
Reed.
Danny Smith's got to fight back.
6 leg, it's Danny to throw first. Game on.
It's been driving me a little bit mad over the last 24 hours as to who Danny Smith reminds me of.
99.
As a thrower or as a look?
As a look.
Barney?
I think he looks like the lead
Barnard I was on about. Not Barnard.
He just reminds me of the lead character from... is it Ricky Tomlinson?
The royal family.
The royal family.
100.
I think it's the stubble. I think it's the beard that gets me.
His throw reminds me of someone, but I just can't nail it.
45.
We see so many throws.
What about Bunty? It's got a bit of Bunty
there
about
is a
him.
bit of Stephen about him. Do you know what? It's the pursing of the lips when he throws.
Yeah.
One of
The compact throw. You've got it.
Two.
You've got the nail on the head. It's
It is
bunting.
There's a bit of Bunty, isn't it? That beard off. Be a doppelganger, is that right? I have just described
140.
something
Danny, you
that's
require
from...
170.
Same accent. Ooh, bullseye!
122.
He is playing so well here. His average is up to 91.5.
You think he's got to win all 4 to get through tonight?
Yeah.
100. Danny, you require 48.
He's giving it everything. make the perfect start.
That's game short in the 6th leg. Danny Smith.
Well, if you were following my tips, you might be a little bit nervous now, because if Dan Reed wins this,
7-10
7-2
final
was
leg.
the
It's down to
price.
throw first.
But
Game
please
on.
remember, over 18s only. Please gamble responsibly, and begambleaware.org for more information on that.
60.
Leg 1 started with a 14 from Dan. Danny Smith has just put a 14 darter in. The Level Devils.
96.
He's got Dan Reed at it here.
You know what Dan Reed wants more than anything right now? It's
180.
It's to win this leg and get himself to 8 points and create that little buffer
55.
between himself and
Well,
Darryl Pilgrim.
I don't recall anybody not qualifying on 10 points.
100.
Yeah, because if he gets to 8 after this leg,
Yeah.
he'll have 3 cracks of making it to double figures, and he'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree. I think he would have to be fairly unfortunate to not qualify with 8, but
55.
that's a long way away here because he's lost the darts in the decider.
Again, he's gone 18s on 305. The right thing to do again. He's thinking clearly.
58.
And Reed has got to get in amongst the inner ring here.
Needs a minimum ton. But a double treble visit would be ideal.
100.
Minimum.
Well, 231's a funny number, because if Danny's going to leave himself on a finish here, he may have to use
45.
the switch option, or even the 25 to try and get to a finish if he doesn't find trebles with darts 1 or 2. Well, it doesn't matter anymore.
No. I'd say that the 64, the 2019, and go for the ball.
36.
Well, that's a disaster. There's never a good time for that. Never mind in the deciding leg.
100.
Could have gone the ball there because it wasn't the nicest target.
Oh, 171 leave double 12.
9 of these leave double 12.
135.
That's
Danny
not a bad miss.
102.
No, it's
Left
not.
him a 2 darter.
Fortunate accident. Somewhat serendipitous, but he's got to dodge a match dart from Danny Smith.
70.
Yes,
Great
it was
Dan
that far away,
requires
Danny.
60.
Great effort. Still work to do here. Going to get 2 darts at tops.
20.
Oh, he's missed it.
Danny, you
You
require
can't say he didn't have his
32.
chance.
Game,
Double 8 is found,
shot,
and Danny
and a
Smith
match.
gets his
Danny
first win
Smith.
of 4 that he needs. So there you go. He's still in with a chance, and he gets himself to 2 points in the table alongside Jelle Klaasen. So a really good competitive match to start our Friday night action off. They are the stats for it. The doubling overall was very, very good indeed. But Dan Reed will think that that is an opportunity missed, and he has lost his second match of the Group B campaign. Jelle Klaasen will come back to play Darryl Pilgrim a little bit later on, but first he's going to have a crack at Conan Whitehead. Could he be the first person to defeat that man after the break?
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Danny Smith has just come through in a last leg decider to pick up his first 2 points in Group B. Well, we mentioned that Dan Reid is edging closer to a place in finals night. No nerves at the start of that opening match as he established a 2-0 lead, a 14-dart hold followed by a break in 18 with 2 out of 2 on the doubles. But Smith, knowing that he can't afford a slip-up this evening if he is to keep his hopes alive, responded very well indeed, forced a decider with a 14-dart leg of his own. After surviving a match start, Reid missed 2 of his own and Danny Smith returned to pin 8-8 to take that opening match. 50% checkout success from Smith in that one, and that will give him much encouragement going into his remaining 3 games of this evening's session. Next up then, we have Jelle Klaasen against Conan Whitehead. Whitehead, of course, with 40% checkout success over the course of his 4 games yesterday. He did make it the perfect evening, winning all 4 of his matches. 40% checkout success over the course of the evening, including this superb 116 checkout in there as well. And Whitehead, when these 2 players met yesterday, was the 4-0 winner. Jelle Klaasen missed all 8 attempts at a double in that match, and Conan, with a 92.5 average, coasted to victory in that one. And he is now just 1 game away from qualifying, 1 win away from qualifying for yet another finals night here at the Super Series. Is he going to be able to get it wrapped up in his opening match of this evening session? Let's hand back over to Nico and Mace to find out.
Yes, he's not far away from another Saturday night. He just loves playing darts on a Saturday night here in Portsmouth. And in fact, he loved playing Saturday nights in Southampton. But this is his darting home at the minute. And if he keeps playing this way, he's going to bank a lot of money and get a lot of wins and a lot of confidence. And if he does do the double over Clawson in a short space of time, he can play another 3 matches in this session and have nobody troubling him, because it looks very, very good for Conan to potentially win this group. But he may have the ambition of an undefeated group. That would give him the ultimate confidence going into Saturday night. But before we go any further, by virtue of a lovely message I've just had from our statistical genius, Mark Walker, prepare for me to blow your mind. Yesterday evening, Conan Whitehead got 8 points. He had the undefeated night. And you think, that doesn't really get any better than that. Oh, it does. It gets much better than that. Because last night, Conan Whitehead's throw was never broken. 10 out of 10 on his own throw.
Wow. That is dominance. I was just looking at something that Wayne Weaning just put online, and it was the World Cup team from 1989. Of course, Paul Nicholson represented Australia in the World Cup. Nearly won it, didn't you?
Should have.
140.
Just looking at a few players. Trying to see if Alan can... if
96.
Alan Smolinski was one of them. Keith Sullivan, Russell Stewart, Wayne Weaning,
140.
and Dale Frampton.
Oh,
100. Going to Uruguay, 43.
Yeah, old school.
Was before that. Terry O'Day would have been in there.
Conan Whitehead.
Oh, he's 11 from 11.
I was going to say, another hold of throw for Conan. You get a darts history lesson as well here.
Second leg, it's Jelle to throw first. Game on.
Got some cracking little, well, just memories
81.
more than anything of years gone by. We were looking at those Grand Slam matches and saying to Nico, what's the longest match do you think you've played? He went,
120.
At the Slam, and we both thought, well, yeah, well, the Slam is the only one apart from the match for that distance, and I lost to Taylor in a quarter 16-11, so I think it was 27 legs, and I thought
140.
a couple of long ones in the Worlds, but we dug a little deeper and we were staggered to find that the 2 longest matches we both played in were 43 legs,
24,
and 45 legs.
Yeah, let's put this into context. All of the games that we're having tonight are best of 7 legs, short course format. Let's put that into another bit of context. This evening, Michael Smith played against Joe Cullen. They had 31 legs of darts, and there was one match dart, the very last shot. Incredible match. So it was at that point we started to think, I wonder how many legs
43
we've had in a match. So we did dig, and I was astonished to find out that your match with Martin Adams back in 1999, was it?
Yeah.
45 legs.
And it was only a quarter-final.
Yeah. And then I actually thought, well, hang on, surely my game with Adrian Lewis in the 2009 Worlds was the longest match I ever had.
55.
But it wasn't.
The last
By
score from
quite
Yelle
some
was
distance.
92.
I played
Yelle
Robert
Unicorn
Thornton in the
107.
2013 Worlds. 43 legs.
In round 2.
In the second round.
39.
In your face, long format. And Clawson's had a really good response here in leg 2. Well, would you stay downstairs? 95 leaves 164. 133 leaves 126. I think the 19's the player.
133.
Really well done. Well thought
Yelle
out there.
Unicorn 68.
From court. Double top for Jelle Klaasen.
28.
And a chance for
Conan
Conan
Whitehead
on the bed that he's
126.
just bossed. And he's there again. Double six.
120.
Put that into some kind of
Yelle Unicorn
context.
40.
Last night, 53 legs were
That's
played.
game short in the second leg. Jelle Klaasen.
And to be honest, that game against Adams did feel like as long as last night's session. What's
Third
even,
leg, it's
what's
Conan to
even
throw
more
first.
bizarre
Game on.
is because it was on the BBC, we only get one toilet break. Now, at 50 odd years of age, I can't go 10 minutes without a toilet break.
I can't conceive of that. In my game with Thornton
86.
in the 2013 Worlds, we had a break after the first set, the second set, and the fourth set.
$140.
Is there a possibility that Conan Whitehead will not be broken all group?
Yes.
We are on non-break
105.
watch.
Yeah.
You can take your 9-dart watches, your perfect 6-darters, that kind of thing. We're on a different watch tonight. Hashtag
60.
non-break watch. Make it your own hashtag. I don't care.
Yeah, just let us know what it is, though. Non-break of throw watch. Conan Whitehead currently, although he's under it now, he is 11 from 11 on throw.
He
did have a bit of a romance with the bull yesterday as well. I wonder what's going to happen.
Not when he wanted it, though.
No. Well, hang on a minute. Double five.
120.
I was going to say, our non-break of throw watch lasted long. Cancel that hashtag.
He's going double-double, is he?
Yep.
He has to, really. The 60's covered. Unless he can force it through under the flight wing. Oh, double 18. He's gone the other way.
60.
Oh,
Yelle Unicorn 10. Yeah, that's game short in the third leg. Jelle Klaasen.
You come up with another idea, Nico.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think of something else. That was gonna occupy the whole night for me.
Fourth leg, it's Jelle
You
to
have
throw
been a bit
first.
unlucky, in fairness. The bet in the first game, well, the tip in the first game, the full 3 to Dan Reed, and he had 2
41.
darts at tops for full 3. And then we found you found another little nugget.
81.
What can be mess up next? Well, when you think about last night's session, Clawson started with this setup, these intricate-looking barrels with the large pink flight, and then eventually he went to
40.
a longer-pointed, more bulbous barrel, which had a bit more shine to it. But he only picked up 1 victory in the whole session. He lost to Darryl Pilgrim
60.
first. Then he got his first win against Danny Smith by 4 legs to 1. You just wonder if he's going to squeak through the group in third
100.
position. He'll probably need 2, if not 3 wins. If he wants to make sure from his position at 2 points, he's probably going to have to win them all.
Yeah, he's in a precarious position.
But on the bright side,
45.
that win for Danny Smith was a good result for Jelle.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it means that Dan Reed has not stretched that
99.
advantage, of course. And next, we'll have our first look at Darryl Pilgrim, who will also have been pleased to have seen that result, because he can now overtake Dan Reed,
45.
who
Jelle
remains on
120.
6 points plus 2. Darryl on 4 points plus 3, so any win, and he goes into second spot.
Ooh, 3 bits of lipstick.
Yeah, that's
Lipstick,
red
powder,
bits.
and paint. Brilliant.
Jelle Klaasen.
3-1, and Conan has lost his 100% record on his own throw, but he could lose his 100% record in
going to the throw
wins.
first. Game on.
He's going to have to dig deep now. At 1-1, he was averaging, they were both averaging 97.
140.
After that 140, Conan's back up to 88.25. 91.29 for Clawson. 50% on the
96.
doubles for Jelle.
$60.
Is there a danger that Conan may just relax a percentage, just thinking that he's already safe?
Well, I don't think that
96.
works too badly with that action, because it does rely on being silky smooth, which it is the vast majority of the time.
55.
Well, it just doesn't change, does it? It's just got that lovely, languid, lazy action, and I think, you know, I just think it's one of those things. In fairness, 1-1.
133.
Clawson's hit a 180 and a 14 darter, and then in the next leg, it's taken 120 out.
Jelle's playing at the
140.
level of his best performance last night. He's not hitting the heights of, say, a Painter at a 107 yesterday morning. He's hitting a lot of stuff between, say, 88 and 93,
140. Conan,
if you time your shots right,
106.
you're going to get a lot of opportunities.
Well,
now, it depends on what Conan does here.
Which he's doing here. I mean, it was a great 140 to leave 36,
58.
and Conan's
Jelle
not been able to take out
36.
the 106.
Game.
No
Shot,
problem for
and the
Jelle
match.
Klaasen, though.
Jelle Klaasen.
Best leg of the match, and it's a 13 dart break of throw, an average of 95.45 for Jelle, 86.69, not too shabby at all from Conan Whitehead, but players in position 1 and 2, both losing their opening matches. Up next, Danny Smith back in action. Our first look at Darryl Pilgrim.
Well, Conan Whitehead, the reigning champion of champions, sublime return to the Super Series stage, has hit its first minor stumbling block after falling 4-1 to Jelle Klaasen in that last match. We said we've just not known what to expect from Jelle Klaasen this week, but that performance was exactly what we thought we'd see from him in this campaign. A 95.5 average for him in that one, a 10th three-figure outshot of the week from him as well to move within one of the match. A lovely 120 finished on double 10 before getting over the line with a 13 darter. 57% checkout success for him in that one. Conan Whitehead pinning just one of his 3 attempts at a double in that one. He is, of course, still in a commanding position at the top of the league standings, so no need at all for him to worry after that first defeat in Group B. Next up, we've got Danny Smith against Darryl Pilgrim. Of course, Smith picking up his first victory in the opening match of this evening's session, but when these two met yesterday, it was Darryl Pilgrim who was the 4-1 winner in that one. Smith did take out this 101 checkout in the match, but it was Pilgrim who then went on to reel off the next 4 legs. Smith will take plenty of encouragement, of course, from his opening match of this evening's session, coming through in that decider to keep his hopes of qualifying alive. He does need to back that up with another 2 points in this one, though, against the man who currently occupies 3rd spot in Darryl Pilgrim, someone who, of course, knows exactly what is required to make it through to a finals night. Who's going to pick up the 2 points in this one, then? Let's hand back over to the comms team to find out.
Thanks, Abby. I love the highlights package of that match from last night because we missed out the best leg of all. The 36 darter. The longest leg in the history of the tournament. It was history-making, record-breaking. And it was won as a break of throw as well.
Do you know what I'd do if it was me? I'd just put history maker on there just as a bit of fun on my shirt.
Stick the date on there and a big 36.
Just for a bit of humour. It can happen. It's happened to us all, that's for sure. You had a longer one than that, Nico, didn't you? Someone reminded you last night.
Yeah, I threw 51 darts on a leg and lost it.
First leg, it's Danny to throw first. Game on.
I had the first Super League back this season, so I don't know, about 4 months
81.
ago, maybe 3 months ago. I had one that was, I think it was a 36 darter. Ended up with a 22 average, 66. The rest of it was all right. And the worst thing was it went 3-all, and I went out in, I think I went out in 15 on 118 to win it.
Just to clear things up for all of our viewers on Sporty Stuff TV and people
57.
worldwide. 22 average. That was a 1 dart average.
Yeah.
Not a 3 dart average.
Yeah, average 66. Dear, oh dear.
134.
I'm trying to think what the averages were in this game yesterday. I don't Danny Smith actually had a 66 and Darryl had a 70, but when it comes
57.
to what's important in this group, the fact that Darryl was able to get the points and a 4-1 victory is very crucial right now when you look at what he's got to do tonight.
Yeah, well, the way the landscape of the table has already
93.
changed. Yes, Conan's still out in front, but his leg difference is now down to +8.
Darryl, you require 134.
Dan Reed's stays on 6 points and his legs are now +2. Darryl, with a win here, leapfrogs Dan Reed.
56.
He's expected to win this one, but so was Conan. Conan was priced at 1-2. 3-10 here for Darryl.
Darryl, you require 78.
But Dan Reed was a 1-4 shot, and he lost to Danny Smith.
Great first start. 2 6s.
Yeah, that's
a very, very tidy breakthrough on the start of this game.
Canny third one. 15 dart break.
I've been watching Darryl Pilgrim
Second leg, it's Darryl to throw first. Game
the majority of this year, and I don't know why I'm about to say this, but I get the feeling he's lost a bit of timber.
Yeah, I think so.
97.
Dart players do a lot of walking. And funnily enough, I always, when I went to big tournaments and was hanging around the big boys,
57.
you'd go for breakfast and there were 2 guys who would always have their coat on and go off for a really, really long walk. Bill Taylor and Andy Hamilton. Not together, but they would always go for a really long walk and clear their lungs and their brain ahead of a very big match.
Well, on the double session days,
57.
A staff house, and the walk in and the walk back, and then the walk in and the walk back, is over 7,000 steps. On top of my 30 minutes on the treadmill today.
60.
Burnt a few calories there in that chicken sheesh.
How many steps have you done today then?
Oh,
Yeah, 20,000?
yeah. I'd have to have a look. Actually got one of them fancy watches, haven't you? That do the steps and that. Have you got one of those?
No, I like
40.
I like the jewellery watches.
Nice.
I don't want to be attached to technology all the time. I don't want to watch to remind me
Well, I
to
have
move.
a thing with my phone
44.
strapped to me.
Darryl,
and
you
it
require
records it.
170.
I don't really want one of them watches either. I like the Rolex or the Boss.
Yeah, I don't like watches that say I'm lazy. You know, I get enough stick as it is.
I've seen you in the gym, pal.
46.
1-2-4 for a 2-0 lead, and Pilgrim is picking Danny apart right now
59.
with an 87
Darryl, you
average
require 124.
today, and he's got 6 starts to get this to the halfway point. Is it too early to say that if Danny was to lose this game, he would be eliminated? I mean, he can get the 6
80.
points, but he'd have to go through two of the big boys to do it.
Yeah. I mean, mathematically it's possible, but it's going to be tough for him. I mean,
82.
would change things
Darryl, you
massively a
require
win
44.
here, because not only the points, but just the mentality and the confidence.
It's
Yeah, that's game short in the second
looking
line.
pretty
Darryl
sharp this
Pilgrim.
evening is Pilgrim. He's not playing amazingly well in the scoring phase, but when he gets to that finish, he's not
Third
hesitating.
leg, it's Danny to throw
Don't forget,
first.
if you're a
Game
social
on.
media user, at MSS Darts on Facebook, Instagram, primarily on Twitter.
60.
And of course, if you're not watching via our YouTube channel, it's the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Hit that alert button. You'll get
100.
a notification every time we go live with all sorts of reviews, previews, interviews, matches of the day,
44.
highlight packages that are now up there. And if you do use Twitter and you follow us, it's hashtag Super Series. Got any questions? Nico will answer them. You're a
91.
social media user. What's your Twitter?
At the Asset 180, and it's currently open, so please get in touch if you've got any questions about what's happening the next couple of nights.
If you want to see my
140.
super set workout, Chris 180 Mason on Instagram, and that's all you will see. Cats and me working out.
We've got a fascinating few groups for you next week. I've had a little peek,
Oh yes.
but I'm not allowed to let the cat out the bag.
Well, not could we not?
No.
Not any of them.
No. There's a couple of debutants. I can say that.
97.
That's about as
Oh,
much
I
as I
don't
can
mind.
say.
I'm not going to get this sack. Let me have a look. I don't really care, to be honest. You know,
Producers might have you for breakfast.
40.
honest.
Danny, you require 160.
Anyway, Danny's going for 160. I'm trying to take over
Leave
the
my
commentary
man
box.
alone.
Oh, and he's missed. Pilgrim's going to have a look at the big fish.
70. Darryl, you require 170.
He really wants to hit this. But he's not gonna.
58. Danny, you require 90.
Chris Mason's just weighing up his job options. Danny was weighing up the
65.
ball.
Darryl, you require
Really thought that was going. The
112.
line was so good. And Pilgrim will not be happy leaving 112 from his previous position.
And he's had 15 darts.
That was intelligent.
Yep.
I love to see that.
70.
He didn't persevere on the
Danny,
60.
you
He went for
require
an alternative
25.
option, showing just what kind of a darting brain he's got. Smith
Yeah, that's game short
fixes
in the
it.
third leg.
Very,
Danny
very
Smith.
well done. I think you can see what he's trying to do here. He's in a knockout mentality, and he knows that if he was to go 3-0 down,
Forward leg is
it could
Darryl
be
the
the
throw
point of no
first.
return.
Game on. $134.
Well, I suppose I can just tease you with the different nationalities.
57.
Group A has 5 different nationalities in it.
Oh, I like that.
So there you go. You'll have to wait till tomorrow night when
See, he was just teasing you.
81.
Well, I don't think I get the tin tack. I don't, but...
45.
Listen, if I was just about to start a 2-week stint and you were all away, I'd just go for it.
I think everybody sometimes would want that time, like that newsreader on
92.
YouTube.
That freedom where you're just irreplaceable or you're on your way anyway. Oh, don't worry, my last ever day of commentary, which is only a matter of
45.
7 years away.
And one of the reasons why we don't do what we could have done just now is because we love what we do. We love being here. We love being with the lads and the lasses playing darts. It's such a great family.
80.
And we have a laugh, but it's serious at the same time, and Pilgrim is all business.
Well, as I say to you many times, Nico, we don't work
57.
a
Darryl,
day
you
in
require
our life
107.
because we love our job. And it's not even a job, really, is it?
Yeah,
Hope the accountant's not listening.
One of my best friends keeps telling me, when are you going to get a proper job?
Yeah, that's game
it's a
short in the
beautiful
fourth
check
leg.
out from
finish.
Darryl
Pilgrim.
Pilgrim.
Could replicate what he
107.
did yesterday. He could get another 4-1 victory.
Fifth leg, it's Danny to throw first. Game on.
It's on the cards. If he breaks the Smith throw, it will be 4-1, and he will go second in the table.
55.
I hasten to say that if Danny Smith was to lose 4-1 again and go back in leg difference to -12, that is way too far behind.
It's
140.
3-4-0 wins.
And you've got to say that that's very unlikely.
Well, I think he'll be... Yes, the
100.
results have not been great, but he's been competitive in spells, and
I've
won
seen
a couple of
enough.
matches last time out, didn't he? He was in the... Was it at the old venue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen enough from him
57.
to know that maybe if he was to get another couple of opportunities over the next 6 to 9 months, that maybe if he has that one good day, that it could open something up.
140.
Yeah, well, there'd be a lot less pressure when you know that, you know, it is fairly performance related. We have had some players that have just they've not been ready for this environment, and that was in the old venue,
84.
and that was a way a way easier environment to play under. This is totally different. This feels like, well, it is a TV studio effectively, isn't it?
Well, what it is, it's an evolutionary step to get you to where you want to be.
42.
And it's that fact that it's 4 feet off the floor.
We did have a couple of players this afternoon who struggled to stay on the stage. I think Aaron Monk was laughing so much at Kevin Painter's attempted a 13 checkout that he lost
60.
track of where the stage
Danny, you
ended.
require
And
164.
Nathan Gervin dropped a dart off the stage and had to leave for a second.
Hello. Oh, needed the treble. Should stay there. 86 left. Could go ball. Could go treble 20, of course.
96. Darryl, you require 160.
To be somewhere to finish this match.
Yeah, raise the eyebrows.
85. Danny, you
Maybe
require
he's
68.
saving it all for tomorrow night.
More like Vanessa Williams saved the best for last. Double 12. This
Yeah,
game
that's
isn't
short
done
in the
yet.
fifth flag.
He's hanging
Danny
on for
Smith.
dear life and making things very awkward for Pilgrim.
Darryl Pilgrim is playing his
Sixth flag is Darryl to throw first. Game on.
14th game in the Super Series. He has a running average of nearly 91
100.
over all of those matches. 131 180s, a high of 107.25.
180.
His finishing stats across all those matches, 36, and he's had 2 170 finishes. and 35 ton plus outs.
140.
It's usually this time of year that people start asking me, who do you fancy to get a tour card who's never had one before?
99.
Pilgrim is very close to the top of my list.
Yeah, he's right up there.
I've got a funny feeling that we might not see him next year.
Well, like with everybody, in the nicest possible way.
140.
I hope we don't. I hope he goes on and gives it a good crack and rolls the dice.
He did rake in a few quid
40.
in week 13 in Super Series 1, so he
121.
might have just shoved that aside a little bit, ready for some expenses for next year, no matter what he does. But Pilgrim has got himself very close to the finishing line
65.
here. He's on a 2-darter. Danny Smith can do nothing this time.
57. Darryl,
just
you
about it
require
then, Nico.
56.
This is to get Pilgrim to 6 points with Dan Reed. But he overtakes him if he hits it.
36.
Oh, and he won't be happy with that
Danny,
effort.
you require
No.
125.
Trouble 20 and tops. And he's a player that
65.
obviously has lots of
Darryl, you
ability,
require
because when he
20.
doesn't find those shots, you can see the disappointment. That wouldn't be there if he doesn't normally hit them.
Yeah, it's actually a good sign for him.
Game.
But that's
shot,
a bad sign.
And a match.
Because
Darryl
Pilgrim does the double over Danny Smith over the last 24 hours. And it's Pilgrim who goes to 6 points and creates a little bit of a cushion between himself and the elimination zone. But Pilgrim with an 86.97 average and excellent doubling at 50%, embellishing what Mace was saying about his finishing stats over his 100 or so last games. He's just an excellent player, and he still has an excellent chance of making his way through Group B. As far as our next match is concerned, Jelle Klaasen will come back in his quest to get to 6 points as well. But he's up against the person on 6 points. It is Dan Reed and Clawson after the break.
This is the MODUS Super Series. $180.
And a reminder, you can book your free tickets for finals night by visiting dartshop.tv. But back here in Group B, Darryl Pilgrim has just moved up to second place in the league standings with that 4-2 victory over Danny Smith. The averages, nothing too special in that one, but it's mainly because that match was all about the finish-in. As you can see, 50% checkout success for Pilgrim in that one. Smith 2 out of 3 on the doubles himself. Just as Smith was trying to carve an opportunity for himself in that one, Pilgrim with a superb 107 checkout to really take control of that tie. And it does look now, as you can see, Danny Smith on 2 points. We really think that he probably needed to win all 4 of his matches to really give himself a chance of qualifying tonight. So then next up we've got Jelle Klaasen against Dan Reid. Dan Reid was the 4-1 winner when these two players met yesterday. He had 50% checkout success in that match, and you could see at the end of that game how much respect Reid had for Clawson up on that stage and how much it meant to him to get that victory. Jelle's highlight in that match, the 1-4-6 in leg 4. Yeah, Jelle will certainly want to do something similar to what he did in that first game, but also something that he's not really done on a consistent basis so far this week, and that is follow up a good performance with another performance of the same level. Will he be able to do that in this one then? Let's find out and hand back over to the comms.
Well, Abby, I hope for Jelle's sake that he does, because a 95 average against Whitehead and the first person to defeat Conan this week, that will definitely perk up the Irish Open champion. As far as Dan Reid is concerned, he was defeated 4-1, like we just showed you. So it's time for payback. And if Clawson can get the victory here, he will join Reid on 6 points. And all of a sudden, we've got a bit of a melee happening behind Whitehead, who at the minute is not really looking as safe as he was at the start of play. But he still has 3 matches to go. This one will tell Whitehead what he has to do next in a mouth-watering clash with Darryl Pilgrim.
42.
Yes, that was in Killarney where he won the Irish Open, wasn't it? Beautiful part of the world. Actually, we did used to have an event there, a PDC event there in Killarney.
Yeah, the John McAvoy Golden Dart Classic.
That's correct. That's the one. But I used to go there for rallying, Moles Gap and all around there. Wonderful rallying every year around there. There's nothing quite like rallying in Ireland. But did you have any darting success in Ireland, Paul?
I loved going to Killarney. I made the final of that John McAvoy event. And a couple of years later, I made the final of the Irish Masters where I lost to Mark Walsh. So I made 2 finals, but didn't win there.
And that particular tournament we're talking about was the first tournament that Jelle won as a PDC player.
That's correct.
Yeah, I did right. I won the Irish Masters on its inception, the very first year, when ironically it was on what Talk Sport became, which we work for now. And I actually did some of the comms before I eventually got to the final and won it.
Yeah, that's game short in the first lap. Dan Reid.
And that's a beauty from Dan Reid.
Do you get the feeling that Dan Reid likes playing Jelle Klaasen?
I think so.
He likes the pacey games, obviously, because
first game on.
So far this week, he's 5-1 up on the ex-world champion.
And then a week after I won a Pro Tour, one of the UK Open qualifiers that was played in countless different pubs, and then played on a last 16 was played to a final in one sort of staged venue. I went to, I think it was West Tyrone, and I had a win there. And then I also lost in
100.
Another one somewhere else. It looks to Felix McBrerity.
Oh, the cat.
The cat, bless him. He smashed. I couldn't believe my luck. Like, he was smashing everybody. Beat Lloydie and everything else. I beat a few decent players on my half of the draw, but Felix was taking care of everyone. I thought, well, this is
100.
This is dead, Andy. He absolutely smoked my boots in the final. I hope you tuned in, Felix, and hope you're well, pal.
It was his birthday
57.
recently.
It was, yeah. I did wish him happy birthday. It was on. Sure, it was on Facebook.
The man with the strongest Northern Irish accent in the history of time.
Lovely, lovely man.
Looks like Penfolds from
60.
Danger Mouse.
I remember Colin McGarry was there that day as well.
Oh, what a lovely man he is.
Yeah, and he's doing very well in the
140.
Seniors
Dan, you
events at the
require
moment.
Yeah, if
158.
he asks you for a game of golf, just don't play him for money.
Oh yeah, he is some golfer,
He's
isn't he?
very, very good. He won't say though.
98. Jelle, you require
I hate to say
108.
this, Jelle, but I think you're going to have to hit this. He's trying to leave tops. He's not going to.
76.
Reed,
Jelle,
at the
you
double.
require, Dan, you require 60.
Double the lead. Two tens.
50.
Oh, this time he
Jelle,
fails.
You require 32.
Klaasen can strike back.
16
Yeah,
darts.
that's James
strike
Short in
back.
the second leg. Jelle
It's
Klaasen.
warming up to be an absolute cracker.
Have you ever known anybody to retrieve their darts so quickly and be ready
Third
for the
leg,
next
it's
leg
Jelle
so
to throw
quickly?
first.
He
Game
does
on.
everything fast, doesn't he?
Ever
Actually,
been-
he actually is a little slower than
42.
he used to be, I think.
You ever been in a car with Jelle?
No.
He hasn't got no seatbelts, honestly.
Take him to... Well, he was in the right place for that.
60.
In Killarney.
I remember years ago, he picked me up from Amsterdam airport. We were going to a Pro Tour weekend, and Barry Bates and Wes
140.
Newton were at the airport with me, and they said, would you mind dropping us off? And he said, yeah, plenty of room in the car. And he had this estate Audi car, a beautiful thing. Got in the car. And you should have seen the
100.
knuckles of Wes Newton in the back. They were white. He said,
brilliant.
are you going to drive this fast all the way there? He
59.
said, oh, yeah, it's an hour and a half's drive. We'll be there in 45 minutes.
I had a similar thing. I had a 500 SL Mercedes, and we went to the Isle of Man and I decided to
140.
drive. And of course, they have certainly different rules over there. And of course, it's that famous TT course.
140.
And Michael Barnard and Kevin Painter said, "Oh, why don't we go have a drive and go? And there's a nice pub sort of on this road." And I said, "Yeah, sure."
100. Jelle, you
They
require
needed large
120.
brandies when we arrived.
20 for tops.
Yeah, that's
This has
James
been
Short in
turned
the third
around with a
leg.
beautiful
Jelle
Shanghai
Klaasen.
finish from Jelle Klaasen, who is having a very positive evening, playing with a
Forward
degree of
leg, it's down
defiance,
the
as
throw
if to say,
first. Game
I
on.
didn't come here just to make up the numbers. I came here to make another Saturday night.
Well, he averaged 95.45 in that
100.
brilliant 4-1 win against Conan Whitehead. He's averaging 94 here. He's 2 out of 2 on the doubles.
140.
This is his first trip to Portsmouth, of course, because when he made a Saturday night in the previous Super Series, he was eliminated in the semi-finals.
135.
and didn't have another crack later in the
99.
campaign, so he really wants to make the final so he can play in front of fans come Saturday night.
134.
We saw 132 a little bit earlier on from
Dan, you require
Nathan Gervin, and
132.
it was a beauty. 2 bulls he got. Still a route left. This is it. Bull. I had the line,
99.
and he's
Jelle, you require
disgusted.
170.
dart. You don't see a dart player leaving 33 very often.
105. Dan, you require
Just one of those
33.
rare checkouts that you never practice.
Yeah,
makes
that's
it look
game
very,
short in
very
the fourth
easy.
leg. Dan
This
Reed.
one's levelled up after 4 legs. My memory serves me right, Mace. When Jelle Klaasen was
Fifth
in the
leg, it's
semi-finals,
Jelle
was he
throw
there with Colin
first.
Osborne?
Game on.
He was. Colin Osborne also lost in the other semi-final. The winners
120.
David Pallett and Robert Owen, and of course Robert Owen went on to win. That was week 1. Aaron Monk was in joint 5th alongside Adam Atkinson.
83.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything of Adam Atkinson in this series yet, but I have a feeling that we might, because
55.
he's had a really, really great year on the ADC circuit.
I can reveal.
140.
Oh, he sold you. I can confirm it's not next week.
84.
You're going to have to hang on, because before the final tomorrow, we will give you the full list of the players for next week, so you can book your time in if you have a favourite player. They might be playing next week, and you might want to see when they're playing against certain people.
Certainly an international flavour, let's put it that way. One of us will be discussing the lineup next week with Abby tomorrow night in the little break we have between the semi-final and the final.
44.
Yeah,
Yelle Klaasen 146
next week as well.
We can reveal that, can't we?
Yes, I think we can. Maybe in a second, because double 16 is found for a
In the
146.
fifth flag.
Oh, there's
Jelle
been some
Klaasen.
great finishes today. And yes, well done, Dan, because that was so good it deserved a fist bump.
6 flag, it's Dan to throw first. Game
15
on.
dart, 146. Check out, he's 3 out of 3 on the doubles, and that includes a 120.
140.
And that 146.
That checkout was so good
58.
that it deserved a bit of a sound effect. And that sound effect sounds a bit like one of our commentators for next week. Dazza!
140.
Is it dozen? Matthew Edgar?
I think he's in with his old pal, isn't he?
Oh, is he in with
Edgar.
Yeah, I think he is.
180.
Will be presenting for the week.
Yeah, I just get the feeling that Edgar's going to use this experience to
100.
try and jibe Glenn all week. Because they've had some banter over the years.
Yeah, they have.
140.
But we're not going to tell you that the co-commentator,
121.
we've got the power. We don't have to tell you, but Dan's got the power. Oh, he hasn't got the power.
And the way.
81.
Yeah, Clawson's
Yelle
been finishing.
123.
Watch this space. Treble 18 and ball.
91. Dan, you
This one
require
almost
40.
feels like it deserves to go all the way when you look at the
Yeah,
the
that's
numbers.
getting short in the 6 flag.
Stick 'em up,
Dan
Nico.
Reed.
You talking
I'm
about
not
the
going to shoot
averages?
you. Yeah.
Look at that.
7-10 final
What more could
lag.
you
It's
possibly
Yelle to
want for a
throw
Friday
first.
night?
Game on.
3 180s, both averaging a ton. Excellent finishing. Klaasen hasn't even missed a double yet.
140.
And he's had 2 ton plus outs.
This is, well, dare I say it? Well, I hope it isn't game of the night, because if it isn't, the
39.
rest of the lads are going to have to produce something a bit special.
Well, that Monk game against Carlin was good from earlier.
It was. We are going to give you a chance
177.
in the new year when we will be introducing a poll for all of the viewers to decide game of the day.
140.
Or if you're from Yorkshire, it's game at day.
64.
7-7 from Clawson, backed up with the 64, and we know what you can do with 120.
Well, Dan Reed has not really done much wrong in this
120.
last leg. Klaasen's just been world class.
Game,
Didn't miss
shot,
a double the whole
Jelle
game.
Klaasen.
3 ton plus outs. That was probably, with even not looking at his stats in his career here at the Super Series, that was the best performance he's put in because of the amount of quality that he needed to find. And you consider what he did. He only won 4 legs to 3. Dan Reed played super well, but didn't have the darts in that last leg, and Klaasen just shut him out. That is officially a personal best from Klaasen, and boy, did he need that. to get to 6 points. We've got a melee in the middle of the table. But let's have a look at match 5. It's Pilgrim versus Whitehead. What more could you want from a Friday night?
Well, I mentioned prior to that match that Jelle Klaasen hasn't often delivered back-to-back impressive performances so far this week, but that's exactly what he did in that match against Dan Reed, coming through in a last leg decider with a superb 103.8 average in that match. A really high quality contest, that one. Jelle took out a 1-4-6 in this fixture yesterday to win his only leg. He pinned it again against Reed this evening, this time to go within one of the match, and their head-to-head for this week ends 3-2 in the Cobra's favour after that 4-3 victory. 2 180s in there from him as well, and look at that checkout percentage, 100% on the outer ring for Clawson in that match. Dan Reed didn't do a great deal wrong in that one himself either, did he? Averaging north of 101 himself with 50% checkout success in that match. Let's take a little look then at the league table and see what that does. And Jelle Klaasen now draws level with the two players ahead of him in the table in Dan Reed and Darryl Pilgrim. Of course, Jelle Klaasen on -3 leg difference. That's the only thing that separates those three at this moment in time. Next up, it's first against second as Darryl Pilgrim takes on Conan Whitehead. Of course, it was Whitehead who came out on top when these two met yesterday. It was a 4-2 victory for him in this one, despite Pilgrim averaging 5 points more and Whitehead missing 8 at a double in that match. Pilgrim, of course, winning his opening match tonight with some clinical finishing. But the question in this one is, how will Conan Whitehead respond to being defeated for the first time in Group B in his last match? I wonder. Let's hand back to our commentary team to find out, shall we?
Thank you, Abby. This is one that myself and Nico have really been looking forward to. These two have got a bit of history as well. More about that as this one gets underway, but they go 5-6 each of 2. I think Conan may bounce back. He does have bounce back ability. I think he will want to right the wrongs from that opening match defeat to Jelle Klaasen.
Yeah, I don't think defeat tastes very nice for the Super Series 1 champ. And he doesn't want to have a cluster of players just lingering behind him. Now, Abby's just had the table up on the monitors there. You've got Conan on 8. You've got 3 players on 6. Now let's say, for instance, Conan doesn't win this match. All of a sudden, things get a bit sticky. So this is the beauty of Group B for me, because it's so short. But there's your first sign of intent from the champ. If he loses, things get very sticky. But if he wins, 4-point gap with 2 matches left each. That looks really good. So you'd have to say, with all due respect to all of the matches he's already played in this group, this is his biggest fixture. He will look at this like a final.
Absolutely. And Conan did get the better of him last night, 4-2, despite the 95-64 from Darryl. Of course, when this man was crowned Series 1 Champions Week winner, he defeated Darryl 4-3 in a very, very tight semi-final. He also had a win
58, going to require
Group
81.
B that week, and also a defeat. Darryl getting a 4-1 win. So
that's game short in the first leg.
Currently stand at 4-1 to Conan Whitehead as he pops in a clinical 12-dart break.
Second leg, it's Conan the throw first. Game on.
I still have no doubt in my mind that Conan's playing tomorrow night. When he tells me very close up, because I had a chat with him earlier about something non-Super Series related. He said, I'll see you tomorrow, and I had no doubt in my mind that I won't. He's going to be here.
Oh, absolutely.
96.
He's a lot bigger than me. I'm not going to disagree with him.
And it could be guaranteed in around about 8 or 9 minutes, the way he's going.
55.
And I'm not just saying this because he's playing right now, but I've said this before. He's actually one of my favourite players to watch because I love his passion for this sport, and I love how much he gives back to the people who watch him. He's not boring to watch. He's not robotic. He is a heart on the sleeve lion of a dart player.
Yeah, and he plays
45.
with an element of flamboyance. I'm a big fan of Pilgrim as well. Never really knew too much about him until he started playing in the Super Series, then Live League down in Southampton, and I instantly thought, this guy's got some levels to his game.
Do you know what? The first time I ever met Darryl Pilgrim was at Q School.
85.
And it was shortly after Fallon Sherrick had that monumental Ali Pali.
Yeah.
And she was on my board at Q School. She beat me. Next round, she was beaten by Pilgrim.
95.
Both players making a fabulous start to the match. Both players currently averaging
65.
in excess of a ton.
Require 40.
Darryl's going to hit back with a break of throw on his own. It was a 12 darter
Yeah,
in leg
that's
one.
game
That's
short
a
in the second
13
Darryl Pilgrim.
in leg two to break back for Darryl Pilgrim.
Well, let's have a little delve into
Third
Nichols'
leg,
picks
it's
for the
Darryl
night,
to throw
because we
first.
were very, very
Game
close
on.
to getting one right in the first match, where we
And
thought that
a
Dan
big
Reed
one.
was going to win.
A 7-2 shot, and he had 2 darts at tops for that to land.
140.
In this one, I went for more than 5.5 legs. So if we have a 4-2 or a 4-3 in this match, that would pay
140.
6-4. Doesn't matter who wins it, as long as there's more than 5.5 legs. And that was one of my picks for the night.
Don't forget that around about
140.
25 past 8 on a Thursday, Friday and Saturday on the Sporty Stuff TV channel on their Greyhound
60.
show, one of us will give our selections for that night. We do that each and every week.
So I'm going to be put on the block tomorrow.
Well, you're doing all right. You're
96.
doing better than I did last week. I had an absolute Tony Blair.
He'll
140.
be
Darryl, you
marvelling at the
require
fact that he didn't get a maximum there.
125.
So far, so good in this game. Looking very, very good indeed. 60 for tops. If it
85.
continues in this vein after
Going
4
to
legs,
require
I'll flash the averages up.
161.
How about that for a deal?
Very, very tidy so far from Darryl Pilgrim.
49. Darryl, you require 40.
For our first hold.
2 10s.
Yeah, that's game
Yeah,
short in the third
pretty much the
leg.
perfect
Darryl
double
Pilgrim.
10.
Well, it's going in the wrong direction because the opening leg was a 12 from Conan.
Forward leg,
Break
it's
back in
going to the throw
13
first.
from Darryl.
Game on.
And then the hold in 14. So we've had 12, 13 and 14. Can we go the other way?
100.
You're trying to get an 11 and a 10 and a 9.
Yeah, I like the increments in one going the other way.
They're going to have to get a move on.
95.
Might have to settle for a 15 at some point to complete the sequence. But I think Conan,
100.
via his facial expression at the start of this leg, understands that everybody's gunning for him tonight. That's a mark of respect.
Well, Jelle Klaasen averaged
58.
95-45 against him, and to prove that was no fluke, he backed that up with that 103.82, which is a confirmed PB for Jelle.
180.
It is a Super Series.
Here's what's weird though, and it's not that 180 from Whitehead, funnily enough, which is his second of the game. Even with those 2 performances, Jelle's still in 4th position in the table.
94. Conan, you require 121.
It's just not worked out around him, has it?
Not yet. He's looking to do a bit of a Gavin Carlin. Get it done in the last furlong.
89.
Last 100 yards. Qualified by 1 leg, didn't he?
1 leg. Might want to leave Kevin Painter alone for 24 hours.
96.
Just let
Conan,
him
you
simmer down.
require 32.
It's probably a good thing that Ipswich aren't playing tomorrow.
Yeah, that's game short in the
2-2.
forward leg. Conan Whitehead.
Well, this is really some serious sort of game, and well, Nicholas
Fifth flag gets
gamble
down on the
has
throw
landed.
first. Game on.
Because whatever happens from here, it's going to be a 6-legger. Lovely little, was that a 6-4 shot, Nico?
That was 6-4.
I'm gonna have to
96.
start, following your tips. When I'm doing the Thursday and Friday and Saturday night show, I'll ring you up in the afternoon. What's your tips for tonight, Nico?
I'll copy you in on the email.
125.
Well, one of my other tips was Whitehead to win Group B at 4-9. Short odds, but I thought with his form, confidence and position, I thought it was pretty safe, but it's anything but safe at the minute, the way that Pilgrim's playing. I said 2-2. I said we'd look at the averages. I'm going to keep my promise. There they are. You aren't disappointed.
100.
Who can be disappointed with that? Wowzers. Well, we thought the Clawson Reed game, which produced 200+ averages,
39.
was going to be game of the night. And I did say, well, the boys are going to have to produce to beat that. Well, they're giving it a good go.
There he goes for comfort on that treble 18.
Just so easy, isn't it? Just like spooning silk.
I thought you were going to say a lovely thawed
58
tub of B&J's from that cylindrical I'm getting hungry talking about that. I've got to stop.
You do like a bit of Ben and Jerry's, don't you?
140. Darryl, you require 128.
Sponsorship opportunity for them, for Nico.
I'm not sure what they're looking for in me. 60 bull. That's what Darryl was looking for. Conan could make 63. His move here.
Conan, you require
he does seem
42.
to have the measure of Darryl Pilgrim in their previous meetings.
He currently leads that head-to-head 4-1.
26.
I'm quite surprised he didn't go 6 for double 18, actually.
Darryl, you require 65.
Strong area of his game.
Someone's found the 25 in the bull area.
45.
But he will be absolutely disgusted with that last dart. And you don't need me to tell you how disgusted, because he's actually mimicking his own shot. It's now 3-2 Conan.
Conan Whitehead.
I think there may have been a little bit of shoulder in that shot by the way he's...
6 targets, Conan the throw first.
He's telling himself off.
That was the longest leg of the match, and it was only a 16 darter. We've had 12, a 13, a 14, a 13, and a 16.
I was going to reference that 36 darter again, but I chose not to.
It's 3 legs of this, pretty much.
180.
Not done yet.
I've just noticed on the flights of Conan Whitehead, he's got some sort of caricature there who's got a tongue with an England flag on it. Hello?
180.
Well, it's a 9 darter coming home.
Yeah, we're going to skip past the 11 and the 10. Go straight to the 9.
100. Darryl, you require 141.
You know you want it. Oh, and that face that Pilgrim was showing there is exactly the one that Chris Mason was mimicking as well. Really thought that we could get a look at least dart number 8.
58.
He really fancied it. He thought he was in the right groove there.
Well, more importantly for Darryl is winning the leg, because he has the darts in the decider.
Not to mention the fact that even if he was to lose the game, he's protecting a very good leg difference of +5. Make sure that Conan doesn't get a look at the 170.
Yeah, that's
and he
does.
The
6 flag.
We're going the distance.
Pilgrim.
So at the very worst, Pilgrim at the halfway point of tonight, the 3/4 point of the group, he would be on 6 points and +5, 8 legs ahead of Clawson, but on the same points. He'd much rather win this leg, be on 8 points with Whitehead,
60,
and within very, very small margin of him in leg difference. In fact, there'd only be 1 leg to separate the two of them. And Conan doesn't want that. There you see his response.
We have now had 7 180s in the match.
Why on earth didn't I tip more than 2.5 180s in this game? Need my head examining.
Could have tipped up more than 6.5.
60.
Just didn't need to back it up with that. And you can see the frustration, the rage.
Do you know what the record is for individual 180s in a best-of-7 game here in the Super Series?
140.
Just paying 7.
7, yeah, that's right. That was against Andy Jenkins, wasn't it? Was it?
7?
7.
125.
Especially when you consider it's against the throw.
Forced me into looking now, Nico.
105 plus needed for Pilgrim to get into 2 dart range. He doesn't
96.
get there.
Conan, you
He gives
require
Whitehead a look
136.
for a vital win to take the pressure off the second half of the night. But it could be Pilgrim
96.
who steals it.
Darryl, you require
Can he reach
109.
into his bag of tools and find the right wrench? Oh, and that's not the one. It's not the one. And Whitehead can't wait to get back to the hockey.
41. Conan, you require
I think
40.
Pilgrim thinks this is over. 10 points and you're safe. He's safe.
Shot.
He's going to Saturday night again. What a surprise. He said he was going to get there. He's only been defeated once in 6 games. But what a game that was. The averages did dip a little bit. But I get the feeling we'd like to see both of them in Saturday night because every time they play each other, it's worth watching. The checkouts were excellent. The averages were excellent. Look at the 180s. There were 7 of them. There were 8 140 pluses as well. That game had almost everything. It was absolutely brilliant. And that is the first half of our play over for the evening. When we come back, it's going to be Danny Smith up against Clawson, who's still chasing. Can he get closer after the break?
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Conan Whitehead has just booked his place in finals night. It was a 4-3 victory for him in that last match. And Paul Nicholson, that is typical Conan Whitehead. When you mentioned in comms, things could start getting a little bit sticky for him. He plays with complete freedom, an average just shy of a ton, 57% checkout success. What was the drama all about?
Yeah, he just knows what to do. He has such a level of comfort on this hockey that whenever things just get that little bit sticky, he seems to have the waders to get out of the silt. And that was a superb game of darts. I could easily watch that again. But they've got really good game chemistry, those two. Darryl's obviously got more work to do to make sure that he's in finals night, but it's going to be great for the crowd and great for the viewers at home to see Conan, the defending champion, back here on Saturday night.
Most definitely. We can take a little look then at the league table with 5 games played so far in this evening's session. If you're Dan Reid right now, vast experience, as you've already mentioned, both in this experience and playing on the Pro Tour, of course. It's hard to ignore what's going on around you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, you think about what Jelle's done already tonight. He's had a really good couple of performances in there. He's definitely trending in the right direction, but he's still in 4th position. He hasn't moved. So Dan is the one that's moving downwards. So he's going to be looking over his shoulder, and he's very much looking at this next game where Danny plays against Jelle, and if Clawson wins 3 from 3, all of a sudden the pressure is firmly on Reid after this.
Yeah, it is indeed. And as you mentioned, it's Danny Smith against Jelle Klaasen in our next match. Klaassen's finishing, we're going to show you a little montage of his finishing from that last match because it was absolutely sublime. He's hit 13 ton-plus finishes over the course of this week. It really has got him out of trouble when it's needed to, but it's also embellished his game at other points as well, hasn't it?
When you have a personal best performance on any hockey, you've got to do spectacular things. It's not just about getting the 103 average, it's about what you've done to get there. 146, 120 twice. I mean, how many times do you win a best-of-7 match with 3 massive finishes like that? Super rare. Super, super rare. But now that he's done it, he'll probably want to do it again.
And the most important thing, like I mentioned prior to his last match, he hasn't really been putting those performances together back-to-back, as he's had one very good performance, then dipped quite significantly. To go back-to-back like that with 2 fantastic performances, he'll feel like he can go on a run throughout the course of the night now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you think about marathon runners, and over the course of 26 and a bit miles, they're going to have peaks and troughs. But when you get towards the finish, you know that if you don't put it in now, it's a question of, right, I'm going to be going home with my blanket around my shoulders and I'm going to be feeling pretty dejected. But now we are getting into the last mile where the adrenaline kicks in and you can do superhuman things. And with Klaassen's experience, I think it's possible.
5 games left then. Who are your 2 players to go through with Conan Whitehead?
You just got to do it, haven't you?
Yep.
I think the way that Jelle's playing tonight, I think he's going to make it. And I think it might come down to the last couple of games, very much like it did with Group C earlier on.
Very exciting indeed. Let's get into our next match then. It is Danny Smith up against Jelle Klaasen.
Splinters, Nico. Splinters. Thank you, Avi. Well, up next it is Danny against Jelle. They go 7-4 Danny, 2-5 Klaasen. And if he replicates the 2 previous performances, he is right in the mix here, Jelle Klaasen. So far this evening, he has produced averages of 95.45.
First leg is Danny to throw first.
103.82. So his running average is very close to a ton.
100.
The table. Well, I wonder Nico didn't want to commit because Conan, 10 points plus 9, he is safely through. Dan Reid, 6 + 1. Darryl Pilgrim, 6 + 4.
137.
6 - 3. So a win here isn't enough. He needs to produce a big one.
140.
The final 5 games, or the final 4 after this one, is Darryl Pilgrim against Dan Reid, and that is a seriously big match in the context
89
of the table, Nico.
Yes, it is. And I've just wandered through the practice room. Dan's already on the practice board. Darryl having a bit of a breather after that previous game.
140.
let's face
Yellow
it, I don't
require
blame him.
145.
Yeah, he's not on. Well, he's up against Dan Reed, and then the penultimate match will be Jelle against Darryl.
105. Danny, you
That's
require
perfect for us,
66.
not for them. And the final match is Dan Reed against Conan. It might be a case Dan Reed has to win that one.
46.
Oh, Klaasen did a brilliant job of moving tops
40.
from 145 in his previous visit. But he won't be happy with that one.
Danny, you require 20.
First blood.
Yeah, that's game
Danny
short in the
Smith.
first leg. Danny Smith.
Oh, 16 dart hold is enough after 3.
Second
Good
leg,
start
it's
from
Jelle to
Jelle.
throw first.
break of throw.
Game on.
One thing that Jelle hasn't done tonight is
45.
change his equipment. And why would you when he's played the way he has?
Well, that was uncharacteristic because his finishing last time out was just
58.
immaculate. As you mentioned with Abbey, finishes of 120, 1 full 6 and 120 to win it, of course. And even in his first match tonight against Conan, he was 4 from 7 and had a 120 out in that. He's had 3 120 finishes this evening.
He might just have had his blip.
130.
We'll be hoping that is it. And from here, accuracy will get him over the line. But it's such a weird table.
100.
Because when you've played the way he has so far tonight, and the fact that he hasn't moved from 4th position, it is just strange.
121.
So he knows that what he's doing, he can't stop. He's got no time to rest. His last game comes against Pilgrim, which,
139.
yeah, penny for the thoughts. It could all come down to that.
I can't believe what Jelle's left. Again.
100.
Is this a
Jelle, you
4th
require
120 out tonight?
120. $80.
Not meant to
Danny, you
be.
require 87.
Smith could double his lead. Safe. Not safe.
That's just a bit of a lack of big match experience. He's
72.
just got to make
Jelle,
sure
you
of the big
require
20 there. Go for
40.
the most room.
Yeah, that's game short in the second leg.
Somewhat
Jelle Klaasen.
comical that Danny found the ball with the last start when he didn't even need it.
No, and that's what he would have needed if he'd
Third
found
leg,
the 20.
it's Danny to throw
Absolutely.
first.
But the fact
Game
it was
on.
low and left tells me that he attacked the treble rather than just making sure of the single.
You know what I love about the sport of darts and nicknames? It's
134.
the fact that we've got so many players nicknamed after snakes. We don't just have a cobra in darts. We've also got a black cobra. We've got an asp, snake bite. I've got a mate called Rattlesnake in Australia.
54.
Daniel Sims. See, Daniel. There you go. I told you I'd get you one in.
Get him over it.
Yeah, he lives in a great town called Wagga Wagga.
Do they have rattlers in Australia?
No, it's more of an Arizona thing,
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
an American thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Brown snakes they've got in Australia, which are more poisonous.
60.
Yeah, you want to steer clear of those boys.
Yeah, they do have, and some horrendous spiders in Australia. That's why I've not been, I think.
64.
Yeah, I once saw a brown snake on a golf course, and one of my playing pals stuck his driver in front of me and said, "You might want to leave that one alone, mate."
140.
We also have a
Yellow
spider in
unicorn,
darts, don't we? Our good
157.
Mark Webster.
97. Danny Unicorn,
We have a
113.
Lee Hayes.
Any other deadly creatures? Oh, wasn't Graham Stoddart the shark?
56.
Who wasn't
Yellow
I think
Unicorn,
I give
60.
but wasn't Crocodile? Wasn't Pat O'Reilly Crocodile Dundee or something?
That's game short
Oh
in the
yeah, it is
third
Paul
leg.
Hogan.
Jelle
What did they used to call
Klaasen.
Pat O'Reilly from Australia? It might have been something similar.
Pat.
Yeah.
Forward leg, it's Yellow to throw first. Game on.
There's got to be some more out there, isn't there?
123.
There's a bit of snap in that throw from the Cobra, wasn't it?
And he's backed up that 16
94.
with a 14 dart break of throw.
I've got a young friend actually who
100.
I used to play darts with on a Thursday in Dandenong in Victoria in Australia. It's called Stuart Colburn. Very, very good player, up and coming. Watch out for him next 2 or 3 years. I wouldn't be surprised if he was to come through the DPA ranks. Very, very good player. Used to play with his dad, Andrew. Good player as well. And he's nicknamed the Cobra.
134.
Another animal one. Reg Harding, the horse.
Oh, yeah. He's not with us anymore, unfortunately.
Lovely man.
99. Yellow, you require 144.
Well, for your collection, Jelle. For another one. Next leg. Oh, I thought he was going to get it, you know.
So did I. I wasn't a million miles away. And I tell you what, Nico, we're well into the 4th leg of this one, and he is backing up that average last time out.
100.
He's up over 100.
Yellow, you require 24.
Double 12. Oh,
no
boy.
score.
Wow, how is that not?
Danny, you
I
require
don't know.
108.
If you tried to do that and not hit the double, you're a million.
Yeah, that's probably the fault of most of the start players. We're too busy
Yellow,
trying to
you
hit the double.
require 24.
Why don't we just say, right, it's not going to go in. It'll probably go in. Double 6. Oh, that's awkward. He doesn't like it.
12.
That's why.
He won't like the fact that
Danny,
Danny
you
Smith has an
require
opportunity
52.
to level things up when Jelle should be 3-1 up and cruising.
32.
Oh, Jelle turned away there.
Jelle,
It was
you
one of those
require
situations where I
12.
thought, he's going to hit this, isn't he? He's just going to hit this. He's going to break me heart. Oh, he's got to bypass that one.
Yeah,
that's a gorgeous shot.
Jelle Klaasen.
3-1 Klaasen, not only doing himself a really big favour, getting close to the points, but if he can get the big
Fifth
victory
flag,
as
it's
well,
Danny to throw
he would
first.
confine
Game on.
Danny Smith to the basement of the table. I don't know what he's thinking, but that was a superb last shot. But if he can get 8 points, it will be up to Reed and Pilgrim.
Got another one.
89.
The Lion.
Lionel Sams.
Lionel Sams. Tiger. Peter Everton.
57.
What was the Fen bit about?
From where he lived. Yeah, I think he was from Peterborough, wasn't he?
Okay.
140.
To do with the area.
Worst trousers you've seen on stage?
Yeah. Well, apart from Peter Wright, which I quite like. But
58.
Oh, the worst ones I've seen were those purple numbers by Wadey.
yeah.
They were Austin Powers-esque.
The worst shoes definitely goes to
59.
Scott Williams. They were.
They're the worst and the best.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like some sports cars are beautifully ugly.
121.
Really got your mind ticking over with these deadly animal darts nicknames, haven't I?
79.
You've got some
133. Danny, you require 134.
Terry Collins. Maybe a bit early for you, that. He was a great player from my part of the world.
78. Yellow, you require 132.
This would be some way to finish this match off. He hasn't got this one yet. He might have in a second. What a dart this would be.
107.
You got to be good to do this.
Danny, you require 56.
I know what you're thinking. You got one, didn't you?
I did.
Conan knows about it.
Yeah.
Hit it against him.
36.
Oh, another chance for
Wow.
4-1.
Yellow, you
Massive chance
require 25.
for Clawson to get that big win. Double 4, double 2.
21.
You just
Danny, you
don't
require
know
20.
how valuable this leg could be. Was he not tuning in earlier with the whole Carlin situation with Kevin Painter? But he
No
might still
score.
get there. He's been given way too many
Yellow, you
opportunities by
require
Danny.
4.
Clawson's averages has fallen over the last
Game.
few legs,
Shots,
but he has
and
got the
match.
job done.
Jelle Klaasen.
He's on 6 points for the night, and he will have 1 match left in Game 9 against Darryl Pilgrim. He may have to win it still, but that is another great performance. The checkered percentage was down at 19%, but he still had some really good darts in there. So, we go on to what is maybe the biggest match of the group so far, which is Darryl Pilgrim against Dan Reed after this break.
Good evening and welcome back to the MODUS Super Series here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, where Jelle Klaasen has just got another win on the board, a 4-1 victory for him in that one, getting the better of Danny Smith. It was an average of 86.7 for him in that one, and this is without a doubt the best we have seen from Jelle Klaasen this week, largely performing at a very high level this evening. His average, of course, dragged down by those last two legs, which he won in 21 and 20 darts. Aside from that, though, it was another strong performance from him in that one. Of course, those last two legs, meaning that he did just have the 19% checkout success overall in that match. But early on, in particular, very impressive indeed. We can take a little look then at the league table. Of course, Danny Smith now unable to qualify. Really, it is just that race between Klaasen, Pilgrim and Reed for the top two spots, alongside Conan Whitehead for finals night. And next up, we've got Darryl Pilgrim against Dan Reed. This feels like an incredibly important game, in particular for Dan Reed, who was the winner when these two met yesterday, of course. came through in a decider to get the points when they met yesterday. He is, of course, still looking for his first win of tonight's session. A cobra breathing down his neck right now is surely going to be applying even more pressure on him. But Pilgrim performing incredibly well so far this evening. A checkout percentage of 50% in both of his opening matches. He'll be looking for that clinical edge in this one yet again. Dan Reed looking to get back to winning ways to really get himself back on track in that race for finals night. Who's going to get the 2 points in this one? As I mentioned, it does feel like an incredibly significant game in that battle for qualification. Lads, back over to you to find out.
Thank you, Abby. Yes, this is very significant, and with 3 matches to go after this in our schedule, it will be Danny Smith who completes his quota first, and he's already eliminated. So he will play against Conan Whitehead in match 8, which is nowhere near as important as this. As far as the slide for Dan Reed down the table, it has been gradual, but you look at his performances tonight, he hasn't played that poorly. In fact, he averaged 101.13 in defeat to Jelle Klaasen in match 4. But this now is important. But which silly so-and-so was it in this commentary box? Yes, I'm pointing at myself. Said that 8 points would be safe. 8 points right now is getting you close to safety. And 8 points is what
96.
The winner of this one will have.
Yeah, remember, top 3 from this Group B. Conan safe on 10. These two both on 6.
26.
So this is just huge. Both will have one more game to play. Darryl will be facing Jelle, who is on fire, and Dan Reed will be facing Conan. It's going to come down to those last 2 matches.
And if you look at the leg difference of
55.
these two, they're both on 6 points as we stand. Pilgrim on +4, Reed on +1, and for the first time in a while, Reed is outside of the qualification zone.
98.
Well, it's mainly due to that incredible run so far tonight from Clawson, who is on 8 and no leg difference.
180.
They made Darryl the 8-13 favourite for this tie.
I'd go with that. I think that's pretty accurate.
They've met a few times away from the Super Series. 1 win apiece. One was a Challenge Tour 14 in Hildesheim.
60.
Darryl winning.
Darryl, you require 150.
Revenge in Challenge Tour 20 in Leicester, quarter-final. Dan Reed winning 5-2.
Double 18.
132.
He's getting a bit more vocal when he's missing shots like that. He's getting a bit more Conan Whitehead-like, saying his own name out loud. He didn't used to do that in Southampton.
85. Darryl, you require
He used to be
18.
as quiet as a mouse. Two fours.
10.
Chance.
Dan, you require 95.
2 times now, 4 in total. Well, this is the 5th in the Super Series. Just wait for... Well, he's not
39
here. So
Darryl, you require
will be back
8.
For a hold, despite the 180.
Yeah,
Dan
that's
Reed,
game
and
short
then
than
it
the
goes
first
the
lap.
19
Darryl
Darcy. Yeah, they
Pilgrim.
met Series 1, Week 4, Group B. And again, they
Second
traded
leg, it's
wins
down the
there.
throw first.
4-1
Game on.
to Darryl, and then a 4-2 win for Dan, and then Series 1, Week 4, the same week in the final of Group 2. When it really mattered, Darryl did the business 4-1 with 101.25 average.
You know, you were saying to me a little bit earlier tonight that you like to get your hair cut every 3 weeks.
140.
No.
I know I've gone totally off topic. I wonder how often Darryl gets his hair cut, because if he was to leave his hair for about 10 days, it would start to look a bit
45.
out of shape. Does he live in a barber shop? I'll just have the usual. I'll have yesterday's haircut. He just gets it done every day.
You'd have to stay on top of that, wouldn't you? Oh, and before you
65.
Shot upstairs a little earlier with Abby, we were looking at the 180s record. An individual, there's 2 that have done it. Both
140.
7. One was the week that I played in. Mark Durbridge against Wes Newton, he hit 7.
Ah, yes.
And Josh Payne has hit 7. The combined, we've had 9.
100.
Josh Payne and Andy Jenkins. And Aaron Monk, who hit 5, and Jason Askew hit 4. And the Josh Payne, Andy Jenkins was this year. The Aaron Monk, Jason Askew
100.
was 2021.
Yeah, that was the game where Jason Askew got the average record.
Correct.
118.44, I think it was.
100. Dan, you require 131.
Well, this is a checkout that Philip Taylor hit to win a world championship, but he went the traditional route of 60, 39, 32.
55.
Nowadays,
Darryl, you require
most players
96.
go for the treble 17 first because it opens up the double-double opportunity.
Incredibly, now we've had 10 9-darters.
56.
Super Series.
Dan, you require
We've
76.
had 18 missed on the double. That's 64 10-dart legs.
Oh, Dan, what have you done? Missing a single.
36.
In matches like
Darryl, you
this,
require
when your
40.
opponent is ahead and on a double. Could be a double whammy to the solar plexus.
Yeah,
and he's
that's
cut
game
it with a
short on the
deflection
second
as
plan.
well.
Darryl
Salt
Pilgrim.
in the wound from Pilgrim.
Yeah, it was a left-hand corner, wasn't it? That will smart just a little bit.
Third leg, it's
Especially
Darryl
when
the
it's
throw
the last
first.
start as
Game
well.
on.
And to rub even more salt in the wound, a break of throw.
You'll be feeling a little bit like Israel Adesanya.
125.
I think you know what I'm going to say next.
Good MMA knowledge.
Just feeling like I've got this one in the bag, then all of a sudden knockout blow.
60.
Wasn't it ever?
It's going to be a rematch, isn't it, that one?
Yeah, I would have thought so.
99.
And why not?
I once saw Michael Bisping in an airport.
Did you?
Wasn't brave enough to go and ask him for an autograph or a selfie. He looked
58.
like he just lost a fight, and I thought, best leave him alone.
Yeah, I met him at a fight in Manchester. Obviously, he's a Manchester man. Very nice guy. Although
58.
he does have that menace about him.
Looks like he could just wipe you out with his little finger.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to get locked in a phone box with him and have an argument. He would bend you up.
It's one of the things I like about darts. It's a non-contact sport. I'm only 5'9".
Sometimes.
95.
I wrote an article for the Sporting Life about a month ago talking about how a certain American dart player called Davis Schneider
60.
was brought to the floor
Darryl, you require
because he was so
124.
slow it ticked his opponent off to the point of fisticuffs.
Well, he wasn't just slow, he was horrible with it. I've come
92.
very close. Well, I actually played him and gave him the game. And then he sort of got a bit chirpy about it. And well, as you can imagine.
100.
Was it the great
Darryl, you
story of
require
Jockey years ago?
32.
Let's just wait for this. It's worth the wait. Jockey Wilson's involved.
Yeah, that's game short in the third
And
line.
that's
Darryl
3-0
Pilgrim.
for Darryl. Yeah, he was at a tournament. I'm pretty sure it was Scandinavia somewhere, and
Ford Larkins down the
someone
throw
was following
first.
around all
Game on.
day and just chipping away at him. And Jockey wasn't a particularly big man in height,
60.
but Cliff was on another board, and Cliff could see that Jockey was getting irritated. He said, "Look, you've got glasses. Don't never hit a man with glasses and all of this."
60.
Right? So the next thing you hear is bang, crash, wallop. And they played on them horrible freestanding boards. A couple of them have gone over and all rolling around. And this man that was heckling Jockey all day is just basically Sparko. And out of the melee comes Jockey, and he's got his glasses in his left hand, broken knuckle in the right, and he was proud to look at Cliff and say, oh, I never hit him, I took them off. Yeah, bless Jockey.
That would sound even better in his accent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell you what doesn't sound good 45. For Dan Reid. Look at the graphic.
I know. And the problem is for him, of course, it plays into the hands of Jelle Klaasen, because
60
defeat here, and if it is 4-0, which is possible, he will go on to -3.
140.
2 points and 3 legs behind Jelle Klaasen.
Well, if Dan thinks he's going to get any sort of sympathy from Conan Whitehead, who are already through, think again.
Yeah.
He's a merciless individual.
Well, I mentioned it today, the integrity from these players is outstanding. We see so many games where it's a dead rubber, it's at the end of a long week.
100.
The players are still giving it absolutely 100%. Listen, we're not used to playing non-knockout darts.
So then you require 96.
Take some serious mental fortitude to remain switched on.
Now, it is hope time for Dan, who stares defeat in the face.
Darryl, you require 126.
Pilgrim's biggest finish of this match is 40. It will remain that way for now.
$94.
The whole heap of pressure
then
now.
You require 56.
Don't miss.
Yeah, that's game short than the fourth line.
Maybe I should just keep saying that when he's on a double.
Just have a feeling, though, Paul, that that's a consolation leg.
Fifth leg, it's Darryl to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, you don't think that Pilgrim's going to slip up from 3-0 up. And this week, I know I've only been here for a couple of days, but I haven't seen anybody lose from 3-0 up yet.
Off my previous stats page, I could have given you the lowdown on that stat.
60.
Any idea why people stand on the oche before they get behind it? I still haven't got to the bottom of it.
No, Gary Anderson does it, doesn't he?
Yeah, Darryl does it somewhat lightly.
180.
It's maybe to make sure they're as tight as they can possibly get. I tell the players that tend to do it, that is the players that have that. They
100.
I don't even know how to word it. You know, they toe the oche rather than side foot the oche.
Yeah. Each to their own, as long as you're standing behind it
94.
when you throw. It's not like the long jump where if you put your foot in the plasticine, it's no jump. Darryl's on 150.
66.
He's got time
Darryl,
on his side.
150.
There it is. Acknowledges the oche. Foot behind. And this could be the end of the deal. Well, it's a good lead.
122.
Just next door, wasn't it, in the corner?
Who's been sleeping in my bed? If you're going to blame anybody...
Loads of people, Nico. You sleep.
60.
You're in an hotel.
Darryl, you require 28.
This is for 8 points and +7.
Game.
He gets
shot,
it.
And the match,
he's in the top 3. And Reid remains outside of the top 3. And he's only got one more game left. He now needs favours from other players. Dan Reid is getting not many shots at a double all of a sudden. He was all right when he got there. 1 shot, 1 hit. But Pilgrim with a typical performance, high 80s average, 40% of the doubles, and those kind of performances are going to get you a lot of points in groups like this. Conan Whitehead, who's already qualified, will now take on Danny Smith, who can't qualify, but we'll see those two go at it after the break.
So then, with 3 games still remaining in Group B, there is now just 1 spot up for grabs because Darryl Pilgrim is through to finals night. He joins Conan Whitehead, and as I said, there are just 2 players battling it out for that 1 space in finals night. Jelle Klaasen and Dan Reed. It all comes down to the penultimate match, and then of course the final match of this evening's session. From such a commanding position in Group B, Dan Reed now finds himself embroiled in that tussle for that final spot, of course, and it was that loss to Darryl Pilgrim that of course means that it comes down to those final 2 matches of the session. But confirmation then that Darryl Pilgrim is through alongside Conan Whitehead to finals night. This match that we've got coming up for you next, Conan Whitehead against Danny Smith. There is nothing riding on this one, of course, because Conan Whitehead is already through to finals night and Danny Smith is unable to qualify. He is bottom of the table, of course, with just 1 victory to his name so far. But in this match yesterday, it was where Danny Smith really produced some of his best starts, wasn't it? 5 180s in that match, went 6 into the 9 and looked like he could cause some damage in this group. It hasn't materialized though, and it is Conan Whitehead who does pose the bigger threat, of course, in this one. He will want to go into finals night on a high and with confidence behind him. So can he pick up another 2 points in this one? Let's find out and hand back over to our commentary team.
Yes, many, many thanks. 2 more games left this evening, or should I say this morning, for the champ. And he thinks he's going to be the champ again. He's looking for his 6th Saturday win in the last couple of seasons, the 36-year-old from Raynham.
And his 2nd Champions Week winner.
It would actually be, if he wins this week, it would be his 3rd campaign win in a row, because he would have won in qualifying for the Champion of Champions, won the Champion of Champions week, and he could win this week. He'll feel almost bulletproof if he wins this week.
Yeah. 3 out of 3. Who's saying he won't make it? 4 out of 4. Be a brave man to bet against it. Just got that formula.
First leg, it's Conan the throw first. Game on.
Well, it's easy for us to say there's nothing riding on this game, but there is actually. Because if Whitehead wins
83.
this game, gets the double over Danny Smith, he will win this group.
And the punters that followed you in will also win.
43.
Yeah, it was 4 to 9. It was short odds for Conan to win the group because he was leading the group overnight. But we did have a bit of a sticky time at the start of the night where Whitehead was almost caught, but he has deflected the field very well, and he seems to be deflecting
42.
Danny very well at the start of this one. Now, I have to ask you at this early stage of this match, Mace, what have you made of Danny Smith, and what do you think he's got to do to maybe take 41. A step in the right direction if he was to return?
Well, I'd like to see him play some of the ADC stuff where he could qualify by right.
55.
I think a lot of it's just experience and just, you know, getting in that comfort zone. We've seen enough to know. I mean, as we just seen in that little highlights package, 5 180s in one match. That's, you know, there's not too many players that have done that here at the Super Series.
Well, I know
43.
that Danny probably plays
69.
a little bit more than I do at the minute, but just to put it into context, I played 8 matches in my campaign in week 12. I hit 3 180s in 2 days. He hit 5 180s in one match. So he has got a lot of talent.
That's game short.
But he's got a 1-leg deficit all of a sudden after that 15 darter from Conan.
Yeah, I just think, and it's been, you know, he was thrown into the deep end the last time he played in a Group B, which is always going to be the case. I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him going into a slightly gentler Group A and have that guarantee of, right, if I don't get it right in Group A, I've got a chance in Group B or Group C, and you might see a slightly different version of Danny Smith. I've played on the Friday, and it feels very cutthroat, and early as well. You make
57.
a bad start, and you just can't seem to get back that ground.
$95.
Sure, Conan and Danny will be supporting the England squad over the next few weeks in Qatar.
100.
I'm already sick of people saying it's coming home. The only thing that might be coming home for Conan this week is another title.
136.
His accountant's going to start thinking, what have you been up to the last few weeks? This is all very rosy.
140. Conan, you require 170.
Father.
56. Danny, you require 104.
Like the vast majority of the players, of course, in the Super Series, they are amateur players that have full-time jobs.
46.
Yeah, people like
Conan, you
Paul
require
Hogan who work during the day,
114.
play an evening session, then go to work about 3 or 4 hours later.
Rob Collins was doing the same, wasn't he?
Yeah, I was impressed with him the last time he was here. Double top for Conan.
94.
Not far away from a 2-0
Danny, you
advantage.
require
And Danny-
58.
He fancied it, didn't he?
Yeah, he thought it was going.
48.
He's had a nightmare
Conan,
in
you
double 10
require
tonight.
20.
And he's had a rough time on doubles for the 2 nights so far. That's what's really been costly.
Yeah, that's game short in the
I'm
second
not going to
leg.
get too
Conan
much
Whitehead.
change out of this man, and I speak from experience.
Are you trying to tell me that
Third
Conan's
leg,
next
it's
start
Conan to throw
should
first. Game on.
read, Conan doesn't give change?
Give much away, let's put it that way.
That reminds me of one of my favourite pieces of street art, actually, by Banksy. It was of a homeless
100.
person with a sign in front of them saying, "I don't want money, I want change."
That's so deep.
60.
Of course, it is believed that Banksy is from Bristol.
100.
I do believe his latest piece of work was in Ukraine.
Well, he actually did a wonderful thing in a boxing club that we're all playing ABC, which is a amateur boxing club in
140.
Bristol, and they were in some terrible financial, whereas there are most of those non-profit organisations that do so much for
58.
kids and young people in the community. And he did a piece of art on the door, and it went on then to be sold, and there
100.
was enough money for them to keep the boxing club going.
That's amazing.
And nobody sees them do it. That's what's even
59.
more fascinating. But whoever you are, I doubt if you're listening, but if you are, thank you very much.
59.
Could be the world's biggest darts fan. Might not have missed an episode. Might be the biggest fan of Conan Whitehead.
83. Danny, you require
Wouldn't be the only
142.
A lot of people like 51 for this. He does. Oh, that was such a good first start as well.
Again, just next door.
101. Conan, you require 101.
I used to like when the referees would change their tone on that shot. 101. Conan, you require 101. It's a bit of an ode to the fact that it's the same 2 scores.
Danny, you require 41.
Double 16. Just sneak around that one.
Yeah, that's
there
game
you
short
go.
in the third leg. Danny
18
Smith.
dart break back. Oh, Danny.
This is like the bakery
Forward
at
leg,
around
it's Danny to throw
4:30 in the
first.
afternoon.
Game on.
No bagels. Not one. Very hungry group.
98.
Having said that, we've had 3 4-1s, 3 4-3s, and a 4-2.
bagels.
60.
Yeah, a little peckish thinking about that. And I bet my body weight in chicken about 4 hours ago.
You were making me hungry last night, so I'm just getting you back.
You know that thing when you're doing no sugar and you got to go through that.
Ah, ketosis.
Yeah, that whole process.
85.
And I love chocolate.
I was watching a documentary the other day with Chris Hemsworth, and he was talking about fasting for 4 days.
97.
And it's incredibly healthy.
Something to do with getting rid of the zombie cells
Yeah,
in
and
your
all the
veins.
all the toxins.
79.
You can get a build up of plaque and fat within your arteries, and because obviously the body when it's fasting it just pretty much eats everything up and removes everything from your body that's bad.
55. Danny,
You
you
also said in that
require
documentary
30.
that you should have the last 30 seconds of your shower on freezing cold.
Yeah.
Tried that. Yeah, that was an interesting 30 seconds.
Yeah,
That's an
been
interesting
short on the
30.
forward line.
Ice
Danny
baths for
Smith.
recovery are just another level. It's not for me. I'm the kind of guy that dips his toe in at the pool
Fifth
on
flag,
holiday.
it's going to throw first. Game on.
I like it when you've got the bucket in Germany and you just pull the cord
Yeah.
and it just goes above you and you think, there's nothing I can do about it, just get it done. And maybe that's what we could introduce to people who
41.
are eliminated. And when you're done, because Danny Smith's played his last game, he's got to go off the stage and go in the gunge tank,
Yeah.
like on Noel's house party back in the day.
The walk of
93.
shame. Get gunged.
Almost reminds me of the first ever episode of Family Guy when they make fun of the Brady
70.
Bunch and say, well, for tattling on your brother, you got to go in the pit of fire. We don't condone that here at the Super Series, by the way.
We honestly do not have a pit of fire.
But the gunge
I
tank
think we
idea,
have a cellar.
the gunge tank idea, that might, you never know. For charity. Sport relief.
56.
Hint, hint.
Yeah, I'm up for it.
He's left himself on a few finishes tonight, which require 18s at the beginning. He's never been
126.
shy of using that 1:30 position on the board. And Conan's let his league slip, but he's starting to
125.
get frustrated with his third dart. Is he just delivering it a little bit too quickly?
I think he was expecting to put Danny away fairly comfortably, or maybe expecting Danny to
44.
not have too much ambition. But yet again, another great example of, well, it's just a responsibility of the players to try and give it everything.
97.
Pride's an
Danny, you
amazing
require
thing.
138.
He doesn't want to walk away with 2 points. Wants to walk away with 4.
82.
Now, of
Danny,
course,
you
he's-
require
We've given him
112.
a total of 6, which again would be an improvement on last time out.
Uh-oh.
72. Danny, you
It's not
require
happening for him. 2
56.
from 7 on the doubles, and he's missed a couple of those opportunities. Oh, 42, double 16.
Yeah, that's game short in the fifth.
It's the
flag. Danny
accidental
Smith.
double-double.
Well, when you think his main problem throughout his campaign in this Group B has been the doubling.
Sixth flag, it's
I
Danny
know
to throw
exactly what's going to
first.
happen when he
Game
goes back to the
on.
practice room. They're going to say, what was that? We could have had something funnier today when Kevin Painter was on 13.
98.
Brilliant, wasn't it?
He went for a 5 and it double 5, left 3. Aaron Monk thought it was so funny, he left the stage. Kevin went for the 1, hit the 1 and missed the double 1.
Yeah, I don't think I can recall ever seeing double 5 1 double
60.
1. Unfortunately, the double 1 was missed.
I don't think Kevin's seeing the funny side of anything at the minute.
I think Conan Whitehead was seeing the funny side of this.
180.
Thing is, Conan has
94.
a very big part to play in who qualifies tonight with him, because he's got Dan Reed in game 10. Dan is already on the practice
97.
board getting ready for that. And sandwiched in between this and that is a small matter of Pilgrim and Klaasen, who are both on 8 points And one of them is going to finish on 10.
59. Danny, you require 126.
Make no mistake, Dan Reed wants a Pilgrim win right there.
45.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But Danny Smith is almost on the other side of the bridge. And he might walk away with 4 points in the group because...
Danny, you require 81.
He didn't win a game yesterday. He might win 2 tonight. If he hits the ball. He wanted 56. To finish on a high. I knew he was going to go for it.
And why not? Try and go out with a bang.
100. Danny, you require 25.
Just follow the orders of Mr. Mason. Double 8.
Game,
and he does go out with a bang.
And a match.
He beats Conan Whitehead by 4 legs to 2. And it's so long for now to Danny Smith. But we will see more from Conan Whitehead in game number 10. It may well be just a little bit of hesitation for Conan in winning this group. I think he's going to have to win that last game potentially just to solidify his place at number 1 in Group B. But before we get to that last match, we've got a small matter of Clawson and Pilgrim playing together. We'll talk about the permutations of that one when we return.
This is the MODUS Super Series. $180.
And you can book your free tickets for finals night by visiting dartshop.tv. We look forward to seeing plenty of you here tomorrow night. But back here in Group B, Conan Whitehead has just been defeated for just the second time in this group. It was a 4-2 victory in that one for Danny Smith. We mentioned that Smith came very close to getting the better of Whitehead last night. Well, he managed to get the job done in that one, but it was a bit of a JoJo, wasn't it? A little too late in that one. 4 out of 10 on the outer ring for him, and both of them averaging very similarly in that one. 2 180s for Smith in that one, the 1 for Whitehead, but all attention now turns to our penultimate game of the session. We can take a little look at the league standings going into this one, and it is Jelle Klaasen up against Darryl Pilgrim. Pilgrim, of course, already through to finals night because of his superior leg difference. Dan Reed will be unable to catch him regardless of what happens in these last 2 matches. So if Jelle Klaasen gets the win, he will join Pilgrim and Whitehead in finals night. But if Pilgrim gets the better of Clawson, it does all come down to that final match of this session. It was Pilgrim who was the 4-1 winner when these two met yesterday evening, with an average in excess of a ton in that one. Dan Reed will certainly be hoping to see a similar result in this match, because of course that is what is required for this race to go down to the final match. But things very much in Jelle Klaasen's hands now. A win will see him through, which is something that looked quite unlikely before a dart had been thrown this evening. He's performed incredibly well over the course of the evening, won all 3 of his matches so far to keep himself in contention. Can he join Whitehead and Pilgrim in finals night and complete our lineup for tomorrow night? Let's hand back to our commentary team to find out.
Thanks for that, Abby, and thanks for explaining the permutation so eloquently. So congratulations to Conan Whitehead, who will have a chance of topping this group when he plays Dan Reed in Game 10. But first, a chance for Jelle Klaasen to have a perfect night, which is what Whitehead had yesterday. But Pilgrim's already there because of that superior leg difference, and don't tell me that leg difference doesn't matter. But I've got to ask you a question. What's a JoJo?
I don't know. I was going to ask you exactly the same thing, Nico.
Must be a Welsh thing.
Could well be.
Probably spelt with 2 L's.
Ask her after Game 10.
First leg, it's Jelle to throw first.
I had to ask
Game
what
on.
the jumper thing was. What advantage to Jelle with the throw.
180.
He makes it count.
So who's Dan Reed cheering for here? I think he might be cheering for Darryl Pilgrim.
Yeah, I
59.
think so.
Now, considering Dan's excellent Thursday night where he got 6 points, he's thinking, I'm not that far
57.
away, you know? But tonight hasn't worked out. He's having a bit of a Scott Walters night.
Yeah, exactly. He's lost all of his matches this evening, hasn't he? Yeah.
58.
3-0. Just missing the 54 to leave 170.
Yeah, as you heard from Abby,
56.
when it comes to the leg difference, +7 for Pilgrim. Even if he was to lose by 4 legs to 0, he'd still be out of range for
58.
Reed. But Clawson currently 2 points ahead of Reed, but his leg difference of even, courtesy of losing 3 games by rather large margins last night. That's why he's still got
41.
work to do.
Jelle, you require 148.
But this is the position you want to be in. I mean, even if he loses this match, it's still not curtains for Clawson. Dan Reed will still have to win, and by a certain margin, if this one goes 4-3 to Darryl,
137. Jelle, you require
16
16.
points -1.
This could be
So
a decent guide.
Dan
that's
would
game
still have
short
to
in
win
the first leg.
4-0
Jelle Klaasen.
against Conan. Good luck
Yeah.
with that.
Trying to defeat
Second
Conan is
target,
one
Darryl the
thing.
throw first.
Trying to
Game
deliver
on.
the first bagel of the night against the person who could possibly win the group is a very different matter.
100.
Still looks pretty fresh, does Jelle. He's had a very, very
93.
interesting week. Ireland coming straight here. He must be playing at least his 7th consecutive day.
Yeah, I think Jelle does look after himself, doesn't he?
180.
Pretty much what he eats, and he's obviously, I presume it's fairly common knowledge. He's
134.
teetotal, of course. Well, he certainly doesn't drink when he plays. I've never seen him with a drink.
He actually told me the story once. He
137.
said when he was very young, around 18, he went for a night out with some of his friends, and he didn't know how much would
43.
make him
Darryl,
merry
you
or anything like
require
that, and
84.
he just didn't enjoy it. And
Yeah.
since then, he just doesn't do it.
Plenty of people like that. This is for a 12 dart hold.
48.
Looking very intelligent and intellectual
89.
these days.
Darryl, you
Bespectacled.
require
I think it suits
36.
him.
I only like the glass of wine, but it does hold a bottle.
Never change, Chris. Never change.
28. Jelle, you require 142.
For 50 odd years, I don't think there's any chance.
Oh, he hasn't got one of these in his collection. He's not going to get one.
85.
Trying to
you
go for the
require
Shanghai 7. He
8.
needs to leave the double.
I don't like it.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
game
that's a
short in
beautiful
the
hit.
second leg. Darryl
So,
Pilgrim.
that was a good one for Darryl Pilgrim and good for Dan Reed. Not so good for Clawson.
No.
Third leg,
There's a
it's Jelle
180
the
in
throw
leg one and a
first.
hold
Game on.
for Jelle in 17, a 180 and a hold in 16 for Darryl.
I'm reliably
16.
informed by Abby that something called a JoJo has something to do with a song that I know nothing about. So, yeah, at the age of 43, I'm no longer down with the kids.
180.
Pilgrim starting to go through the gears. Not seeing the best of him yet. We may see the best of him
91.
tomorrow night, because we will be seeing him with Colin Osborne, Aaron Monk, Gavin Carling, and Conan Whitehead.
I'll be doing a bit of stat crunching tomorrow during the day,
100.
and so far we're looking at a really prestigious group. You think about Osborne, he's won weekly titles before. Weekly
95.
title winner Pilgrim, weekly title winner Whitehead, weekly title winner in Gavin Carling. In fact, the only one so far who hasn't is Aaron Monk.
That's got to change at some point.
Oh, it's another 180 from Pilgrim.
180.
180 ton, 180. 41 after 9.
121. Darryl, you
Reflection.
require 41.
If it's Reed that goes through, he's won a weekly title. Jelle hasn't.
He's won a world title.
25.
Yeah, you win.
Jelle, you require 134.
Consider myself trumped.
So's Aaron.
Oh, yeah. Tops. Oh, hello.
94.
Oh, how has that not gone in? How has that gone behind
Darryl,
that
you
dart?
require
Colin,
16.
of course, has won a Champions League title.
For some reason, the Champions League music's just
Yeah, that's
ringing
game
on my
short
head
in the
now.
third leg.
The
Darryl Pilgrim.
champions! Well, Darryl wants to be the champion of the week.
Oh, really?
Forward leg,
Colin
it's
Osborne
Darryl the
should-
throw first.
He's
Game
the one
on.
with the serious experience at this. He won it with the, was it the top 64 or the top 128 of the
58.
PDC played in that?
Yeah, he beat Taylor in the final.
Yeah, the champions of the Champions League of Darts down at Crondon Park.
Yeah, he was one of the best players in the world in
99.
2009. For me, he was quite unlucky not to make the Premier League that
Yep.
year because he was top 10 in the world. Made the UK Open final in June at the Bolton Stadium.
140. 95.
I say it's all not lost if Jelle does lose this match. Dan Reed will be in a very similar position to what
57.
Jelle is in this one.
He doesn't want to lose this match. He wants to get it done, and then he wants to leave the building and say, right, see you tomorrow.
Yep.
And then whatever Dan Reed does,
43.
doesn't matter. However, if he does lose this game, he'll have to stick around, and bedtime is postponed by half an hour.
Yeah, and he won't be going anywhere.
And knowing Jelle as I do,
96.
he's up there with one of the Olympic-level sleepers in world darts. He is very much on the podium with Mark Webster and Gary Anderson.
190. Darryl, you require
Do that, 'cause I'm
150.
Complete opposite. Another one of those. Leaves double 18.
Yeah,
a
that's
beauty.
game short in the
An
fourth line.
absolute
Darryl
beauty. A
Pilgrim.
fabulous max from Jelle Klaasen. He's trumped by the 150 from Darryl
Fifth
Pilgrim.
flag, it's Jelle to throw first. Game on.
Wow, that'll hurt.
That really was a hurtful shot.
44.
Pilgrim was to finish the deal here by 4 legs to 1. Clawson would finish in the table for the night on 6 points and +4. A very good effort.
59.
But if it's 4-1 again in this fixture, in the overall table, Clawson would finish on 8 points and -3.
123.
That would mean that Reed would only have to win. He wouldn't have to worry about the margin anymore.
No, correct.
58.
Now, Darryl's just gone off the boil. 59 and 58.
180.
I'm reading this right, aren't I? My eyes don't deceive me at this early hour because 6 180s.
60. Jelle, you require
In 4 and a bit
154.
legs.
Yep, 3 apiece. We had 2 in the one leg, didn't we, from Darryl Pilgrim?
96.
Playing the percentages. Jelle Klaasen, sensibly.
Yeah, he doesn't make tactical errors.
Touch. Just
135.
counting,
Jelle,
aren't
you
they?
require
Forward thinking.
58.
Double top.
38.
He's had 5 shots at a double in this match and he's only hit the 1. Pilgrim's had 10 opportunities already. 10.
55. Jelle, you require 20.
Don't give him another
Yeah,
shot.
that's
Well
game
done,
short
Jelle.
in the fifth
A
flag.
great double
Jelle
10
Klaasen.
to take us to leg number 6. Now, if Clawson was to find this leg against the Darts,
6 flag, it's Darryl to throw
all of a
first.
sudden,
Game on.
Reed would have to win by a margin. Just making things a bit more tricky. But on top of that, if he was to win leg 6, he could
59.
still win leg 7 and get it done.
$140.
Kicks off with a 140. He has not given up hope.
94.
Penny for the thoughts of Dan Reed.
96.
I'm sure will be fully focused on his match with Conan Whitehead, but it's still not in his hands.
Clawson is grafting hard here. Should see him start on 19s on 265.
19.
5 of them leave 170.
Oh, bypass dart.
Just tried to
79.
find the right-hand side of the treble. Could have got away with putting a safe one in there.
Yeah, the problem he had is that the flight flattened out and it actually covered a lot more of the bed than you could
85.
possibly imagine.
Yeah. Not too much damage done, though. Key visit.
I think
59.
one of the things coming into this match for Jelle is the fact that his performance levels have picked up so much tonight that he doesn't want to stop playing. I mean, he genuinely has a good shot of winning this week if he's there.
97.
That's the thing. He's
Jelle, you require
on 8 points,
127.
very rarely that 8 isn't enough.
Double 8.
Wow.
111.
Ooh. So close.
So
Darryl,
close
you
for
require
3-3, and he would have had the
76.
darts in the decider. This could be all over.
36.
It's not Red Rover.
Yellow, you require 16.
Still 8. Oh, no,
No
it's
score.
Goldilocks. Who's been sleeping in my bed?
Darryl, you require 40. Game.
And it is Red
shot,
Rover.
And a match.
And Jelle
Darryl
Klaasen will have to
Pilgrim.
wait to see if he's done enough. He now needs a favour from the man at the top of the table. Well, he might be at the top of the table because Darryl Pilgrim, with that 4-2 win, has gone to 10 points and a leg difference of +9. So, if Conan Whitehead wants to win the group, he has to beat Dan Reed in match 10, and match 10 is coming up after the break.
Welcome back to the live lounge here in Portsmouth, where Darryl Pilgrim has just rounded off his Group B campaign with a 4-2 victory over Jelle Klaasen. Well, Jelle took the opening leg of that one. Things were looking very bleak indeed for Dan Reed's chances of qualifying. He'd have been very relieved indeed to see Pilgrim kick into gear from there, though, hitting 180s for fun to take the next two legs in 16 and 14. And, well, we've spoken all week, haven't we, about Klaasen's big finish in, but a sublime 150 checkout from Pilgrim to complete a 15-dart leg took him to within one of the match. Jelle, of course, missing darts to force a decider in that one. He ends that game 2 out of 9 on the doubles, and from there Darryl Pilgrim was able to do enough to get over the line. 4 out of 12 on the outer ring for him in that one. We can take a look then at the league table with one more match remaining, and it's very simple indeed. Any win for Dan Reed and he is through to finals night, because of course At the moment, the legs difference is identical between Reed and Clawson. So 2 points for Reed, and he will make it through to finals night, along with Conan Whitehead and Darryl Pilgrim. But Conan Whitehead, of course, will want to top the group, so there's plenty for him to play for in this one as well. When these two met yesterday, it was Conan who was the 4-0 victor in this match. Reed missing all 3 darts at a double in that one. Well, Dan Reed came into tonight's action in second place, looking very comfortable indeed, didn't he? But he's lost all 3 of his matches so far this evening. Can he pull out that all-important victory in his final match of the group in order to get through to finals night tomorrow? Let's hand back to our commentary team for what should be an incredibly intriguing battle.
Yeah, why not? For game 10 in Group B. And it's very, very simple, which is not what we could say about Group C earlier. The abacus is firmly back in the cupboard. Win and in. That is what we have for Dan Reed. Win against this guy and confine him to just 2 points for the night. And it will mean that Whitehead would be second in the group, albeit still qualifying. But for Dan Reed, a win would get him to 8 points and a superior leg difference than Jelle Klaasen, and it will be an early flight home for Jelle. But if it's Whitehead to win, he wins the group. He would go into a different group on Saturday night,
it's down the
and
throw
Reed
first.
would go
Game
back to
on.
Berkshire. Time for revenge, maybe?
180.
Got gubbed 4-0 yesterday.
Do we have to take note of the fact
140.
that around 24 hours ago, Dan finished the schedule in match 10 against Danny Smith, and he put in his best performance in a winning sense
60.
of 100.84. 67% on the doubles. It was an excellent display, so he does have a good engine.
Yeah, he does have it. He does have that
95.
game in the locker late on. And we have seen that from him before because he is a proven winner on the Saturday night.
91.
Have you had any thoughts about what our theme song should be on a Saturday night? Because I'm a big fan of SATURDAY by the Bay City Rollers.
Yeah, I think we should have our own identity for the music on a
139.
Saturday night.
Then you require 170.
Maybe watching a repeat of this on YouTube.
45. Going you require 127.
Saturday night's all right for flighting by Elton John. Did he really just do that?
Yeah, that's game
Did
short
he
in the
really just
first
do
leg.
that?
Conan Whitehead.
It's almost like I knew he was going to hit the bull. Of course he was going to hit the bullseye.
Wow.
After his trials and tribulations on the bullseye yesterday, he's finally found the bullseye at the right
time. Throw first. Game
if you're not watching it, get in touch with us. If you're watching it live or watching a repeat at MSS Darts on Twitter.
140.
Give us a suggestion for our theme music on a Saturday night.
99.
The guy who's in charge of our music on a Saturday night here, he's very much into 90s dance music.
Yeah.
Some of it's decent.
100.
DJ Staff and the Wheels of Steel.
Is that a real thing, the Wheels of Steel?
Well, I'm not sure if that's what he uses, but the Wheels of Steel is it's definitely a real thing.
100.
Points of Steel from Conan Whitehead, who's looking very good for a 2-0 lead. Reed needs a 60.
77.
This
Going
one's
you
getting
require
further away by the
161.
minute. He's probably quite glad that he doesn't have to win by a margin. He's just got to win by hook or by crook.
I've just been reliably informed that Steph used to be known as DJ Almighty. That's a bit it's arrogance personified, isn't it?
Past the
81. Going you require 62.
This will be an almighty effort on double 16.
Yeah, that's game
and
short in the
Whitehead
second
gets the
line.
15
Conan
darter.
Whitehead.
Doubles the lead. He's halfway there. And he's playing with a facial expression and an aura of, I won't be denied. Darryl, you might have that #1 position for now, but it's mine.
Well, we do have a players' marshal here, and I was
55.
just out the back momentarily, and Conan was asking, what do I need to do? And he was told, you have to win
140
to win the group. So that tells you his mindset going into this. This shows you how much he wants
85.
to win the group. He's averaging 114.2.
That it? Personal best
140
for Conan Whitehead to date in his career, which spans over 210 matches now. 107.87.
140.
I get the feeling that there's more to be found.
Agreed.
It might be in the next couple of legs.
Yeah, it might be in the next couple of minutes.
123.
And to 98 after 9, a possible 11 darter.
Reed
is not playing poorly, but how many times have we said that over the last couple of days? Double 19. I feel his pain.
82. Then you require 81.
Personal best is still on the offing. It's one of those occasions when you're trying to break an average record, you don't mind this going in.
56.
That was so close.
Going
3 very well thrown darts as well.
With no reward. That's the first dart.
Yeah, that's game short in the third line.
A double.
Conan Whitehead.
Now 3 from 5. The average 110.
Do you have any idea
Forward
why
it's Conan
the
to throw
dartboard
first.
doesn't talk back?
Game on.
Because when Conan talks to the board's too scared. He just went, go on. When he hit that double 8, he stared down that double 8, and the double 8 was silent.
I've got to say, he's got a 180 in this, and he's averaging 110. He hits a 180, and it only goes up by 5 points.
60.
He is looking to beat Dan Reed over the course of about 27 hours, 8-0.
140.
I can imagine he was left a little frustrated with his performance against Danny Smith, and it tells me he's gone away and he's stewed on that and thought, right,
100.
I need to come back out here and put down a bit of a marker. My goodness.
My word.
All right, it's going to go in the ball.
132.
He made so sure that he wasn't going to hit a ball. He missed it by a long way, but he's coming back for an 11 dart leg, which will
23.
give him
Going to require
a personal
49.
best high average here at the Super Series. Double 16.
Game,
that is
shot,
absolutely incredible from Conan Whitehead, and yet another 115.62. We've seen an array of those here at the Super Series. We've seen one, of course, from Cam Crabtree, and that beats his personal best by some 8 points. Conan Whitehead with 115.62, 180, 5 140s, 4 out of 6 on the doubles, and that wonderful high finish of 127. So that confirms our 6 players for tomorrow night's final, and we'll get those 6 names confirmed with Paul and Abby.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mace. Nico, I think it's fair to say Conan Whitehead didn't want to be runner-up in that group, did he?
No, I don't think so. I think there was a lot on his mind. Like Mace mentioned, he had a chat with our players marshal and asked what he needed to do to win the group. Just to win, that's enough for him, but it's a joint venue record. That's now 3 people who've got that exact same average. That's an astonishing performance. 52 darts for 4 legs. And he's just an incredible dart player, isn't he? That's a personal best for him. And you just get the feeling that the spirit, the integrity and the passion he's got for this place, everybody can be inspired by it.
Most definitely, but also the freedom he plays with despite putting so much weight in all of those performances. It's an incredible balance, isn't it? To have that passion, but also play with that freedom. We can take a look then at the league table and see how things ended up. It was, of course, Conan Whitehead with that victory who tops the group. Darryl Pilgrim in second, Jelle Klaasen going through with the two of them as well, completing our lineup for finals night. A penny for the thoughts, though, of Dan Reid.
Yeah, he had a great Thursday, but unfortunately Friday was a bit freaky for him, wasn't it? He didn't play poorly throughout the group, but he's had a very up and down week. His best day was yesterday. Unfortunately, today is his worst, but he just came up against an absolute mammoth performance there. He just had to win, but in order to beat him there, even when he had his best performance of 117 earlier this year, it would have had to have been something like that to beat Conan there. That was incredible.
And fair to say, Jelle Klaasen maybe just dealt with that pressure of the situation slightly better there. How do you rate his chances going into finals night?
Well, knowing Jelle as I do, he likes to sleep. He'll be happy that the finals are at night, but I think he's definitely warmed to the challenge of the nighttime games over the last couple of nights, and I think he's going to enjoy having the fans here. He's going to enjoy the challenge of this group on Saturday night. It's a phenomenal group of players. We'll see how they stand in each group that they have, but cutthroat stuff, knockout style darts, and it definitely suits his game.
Yeah, if he likes sleep, I have absolutely no idea what he is doing at the MODUS Super Series, to be honest. But we can have a look then at the two groups for finals night. And as Nico just said, what an incredible lineup we have for you. You were laughing at that. Look at those groups. Which one would you want to be in?
Have a guess which one I'm looking at.
The bottom one.
Yeah, you've got to have a look
incredible.
at that. Monk, Whitehead and Clawson, I'll have a bit of that. Pilgrim, Carlin and Osborne's no slouch of a group, but that group too, that's incredible.
There are going to be some fireworks in that second group, aren't there? Aaron Monk, of course, comes into this, showed so much spirit. What do you think he'll be thinking, looking at that group and seeing he's in with Jelle Klaasen and Conan Whitehead?
I think there may be some volume. Now, Claasen's not the kind of person to celebrate. He likes to get up there and do his thing. But as far as Whitehead and Monk are concerned, just that fixture in front of people in this place, that could well be one of the games of the year.
Who on earth are you picking to come through that group?
Ask me one on sport.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think that's very fair. You may need help pulling those splinters out of your backside a little bit later on, but finals night does get underway from 10 p.m. tomorrow night. You've just seen the lineup. You will not want to miss that one. We are guaranteed fireworks on finals night. Come and join us from 10 p.m. tomorrow evening.
The MODUS Super Series, brought to you in association with Bet365, Betfair, Betfred, Coral, Ladbrokes, Paddy Power, Unibet and William Hill.